welcome to yet another awesome podcast. I'm Sonig.
Oh, we don't know how good it's going to be.
Well, it's going to be awesome.
Oh.
Come
All right, well,
on.
We're recording
Another
at least.
mediocre podcast.
No, guys, we are awesome.
Yes, we are. I'm Dan.
Yeah, I'm Chris.
Can you say your name? Thanks.
How rude.
Seriously, Chris.
Welcome to
Way start out.
Vigilante-Verse.
I started out really grumpy. I'm sorry.
I know, my goodness.
Another beautiful day for a podcast here.
It's currently almost 70 degrees today. I'm
Yes.
very excited.
That's midsummer weather right now.
Midsummer.
I know. But it is very cloudy.
Yeah.
So.
Don't stop.
I'm sorry. We're just
Stop.
dampening the mood.
I know.
We're on episode 12?
12. We forgot to go over that. I think it's 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creeping up, guys. We're going to hit the 20 mark, and I'm actually going to bring a cake this time.
All right. That's
Yeah,
fine.
Sonic was offering to make a cake. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Make a cake. But I felt bad. She was texting us last night about it. And I'm like, you don't have to make a cake.
We texted like at least 20 texts trying to figure out if Sonic should make a cake or
And it was
not.
really funny because I was at the gym and I was like, do I make a cake as I'm like
know.
working out?
That's funny. I was at the gym at the same time I was getting the text.
Were
Yeah,
you
doing the
really?
gym. Yeah.
Were you really?
Yeah.
I was eating.
Chris and I are on the
so
same
was-
schedule.
I know. That's why the reason I texted last night when I was watching Arrow, and I was
Well,
like,
I
they're
knew
definitely
it
watching
because
at
it
the
was
same
like
time.
11 something and you were watching it.
Yeah,
So
I know.
yeah,
I was thinking of both you guys.
I actually just finished it.
I think
Yeah.
I watched like an hour before you guys, though. Sorry
You must, yeah.
to ruin.
you
that
watch
whole
it like
thing.
when it's live.
No, right after it's
So,
live.
like,
So
the
9 to
10
10,
o'clock.
and then at 10 I'll just watch the
Yeah,
recording.
yeah.
Yeah.
You wait to watch it because of commercials?
Yeah.
Okay,
Commercials
that's
are
smart.
annoying. Yeah.
Oh, they're so annoying.
Um,
Cable users here.
but yeah, at the end of that
Oh, man.
texting,
I watch it in 1080p surround
forgot to-
sound.
Oh, here
I
we go
forgot to
again.
ask you about that. Can you
Well,
remind me
that's something
after?
for off the air.
I know. Can
There's
you
some
remind?
secrets
Because
to
I
that.
forgot last week, but
Just
but yeah,
go to 1080parrowepisode.com and you can download it.
There you go.
that's
You
definitely
download it
not a
that
site.
way.
Someone's gonna go on that site and be like, wait.
It's like the
Chris,
calls I
really?
get from my parents. Like, the pointy thing's gone. I'm like, the point? Oh, the pointer. Go to the desktop. What's that?
Oh, you're their
Oh.
IT person.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Pretty much.
But at the end of the texting of the cake, Chris was like, I think we talked enough about cake for like
no,
a
that was
year.
you.
That wasn't
No,
me.
that was me. I
That was
stopped
you?
responding for like 10 minutes.
Oh,
And
I
then
did
the
too, 'cause I was
conversation
at
kept
the-
going on, and I was like, guys, like, we've gone beyond any reasonable expectations.
No, I stopped
For-
talking
for
about
the
it
cake.
too.
Yeah. Well,
I was like, I'm at the gym. I can't talk about cake right now.
Yeah.
what's funny is I came in today, and I was actually really upset there was no cake.
I know. Come on. No.
So
As I was scarfing down my
the
scone.
way we left it, I thought we were getting
Yeah.
cake.
Sorry.
When I say the cake is a lie, you guys ever play Portal?
The game?
The cake.
game.
Spoiler for 10 years
Spoiler.
ago.
Yeah, that game's old. You're aging yourself a little bit.
I'm old.
We're both old. We're all old.
Well,
I used to use a rotary telephone when I was a kid. No
oh
kidding.
my goodness.
Oh, snap.
Like a real one. They have retro
Real-
ones of
Yeah,
those
Chris
now.
is 50, if you guys didn't know. No, I'm just kidding.
It's
That's
funny
right.
because people listening
Can
to
barely
this,
see
they
you
probably
through.
don't even know how old we are. Let's keep that a mystery.
Yeah. They don't
It's-
know.
It's a mystery.
It is.
That's
I'm
right.
actually
Guess our
60.
age, guess our weight, you know.
That'll be the
Yeah,
trivia.
let's-
There you go.
let's
Guess all of
not-
our ages.
I mean, you already kind of know what we look like if you follow us on Instagram, so
What's the average weight of a comic book fan? It's got to be above 200, I think.
way to be like.
yeah, we're
I think it's right. I think it's right.
Jeez.
Because it's a lot of sitting around reading comics. I'm sure we have a very beautiful, fit audience, but at the same time,
I mean,
think,
we're all fit.
oh, extremely.
Ish.
Yeah.
I'm not
Extremely,
that.
Yeah.
I'm not that.
We fit through a door, I think is what she means.
Yes, we're not.
Yeah.
We're getting way off topic.
That's
I
why
don't
we do that,
No,
though.
I'm compelled by this topic. Before we get into the Legends finale,
yeah.
I know.
which is very exciting. I
It's-
kept thinking, I don't know. It's weird that Legends has such a short season for the show. It's probably the best show of any of the shows,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't have like 22, 23 episodes.
It is, and I think you were saying before, like there's an
Yeah,
effort
last
not
week.
to have all the shows on at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's why this season was shorter than usual.
Well, it's probably a combination of them having, 5 different superhero shows along with their other shows, and that they just needed one of them to be shortened, which, again, I said last week. Next year,
Yeah,
it's
why are
going to
you
be
shortening
shortened even
Legends?
more, though.
gonna
Legends.
shorten
Like
Legends
Legends is going to be shortened to probably like 18 or something, but they're already saying because they're going to have their week from Sunday to Friday, so there's going to be shows on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which
Ooh,
is not
Sunday.
that bad. I like Sunday night shows.
You can
As usual, I was
record
just
it,
about to
watch it.
disagree with you completely. I don't
Well,
love Sunday
that's-
nights. Sunday nights, that's the Lord's night. I don't.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
usually
excuse
relaxing
me.
on Sunday. No, it has
I
nothing.
mean, usually I have like some of my shows were on Sundays before, so I'm
Yeah.
used to it.
Walking Dead was on Sundays.
Homeland's on
Yeah.
Sunday. You still watch Walking Dead?
No, I don't. I know you.
But
do.
that is
I don't know
on
anybody
Sundays.
that still watches
I
Walking
watched.
Dead.
I was actually talking to my good friend because I talked to you about this same exact topic, and he was like, "I watched like the first 3 seasons, and now it turned into like a soap opera, and it's like not good anymore."
Walking Dead.
Yeah, that's what
I
he
mean,
said.
it was
On his
bad at
row.
the end of the first season, so.
I was up to it to this season, but one of the last episodes I watched was so dark. I honestly didn't know who was talking, what was happening, and I just don't care.
Yeah.
I don't even know really what it's supposed to be at this point. But whatever.
It's like almost 10 seasons long now, I think, isn't it?
I mean,
Is it
It's
that
like,
long?
it's
I almost wanted to
long.
watch just this season because Jeffrey Dean Morgan's in it, and I love him.
Yeah.
If you know who that is.
He was on Howard Stern this week. Gave a really good
Oh, was
interview.
he?
Maybe just yesterday, actually. Yeah.
I
heard some of that.
love him, and he was in Supernatural, which is one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
So,
The reason I
but then
kept
I didn't. I was like, no.
asking, I asked you guys how it was, and then I asked my friend, is because I was playing this like zombie type video game, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to watch The Walking Dead now. And
What
then
game?
like The Last of Us, great game.
That's a
great
great game, yeah.
Great story.
It's one of the best stories in a video game.
Oh yeah,
You
they
played it
say
on the
that.
PS4, I guess,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But it originally came out on the PS3,
Oh wow.
and then they remastered
they
it to
remade
the PS4.
it, yeah.
And part 2 is supposed to come out soon. They say this year, but it'll probably get delayed. But anyway,
You just like killing
great
things.
game. Great game.
well, it's that game is more. It's not even
It's
about.
not. It's not really about killing.
It's really just
It's
kind
about
of.
bonding.
It's.
It is. It's about Ellie. Is that her name?
Ellie, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
you
really-
protect this kid. I'm
And-
sorry.
No, it's funny because at the end of the game, I was just like, it really wasn't a game about like someone's a hero, someone's a villain. It's literally just like a story. Because at the end, I mean, I don't want to spoil the game, but that you know, Joel is like the main character you play, but at the end, it's like,
So,
oh,
yeah, I'm
what's
used to
going
like
on?
playing Call of Duty where you just shoot people.
Yeah, that's
And I'm just
yeah,
like,
that's a different.
I like this.
different game.
I'll do that, but not on Sunday. That's the Lord's Day.
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
won't
want to
shoot
interrupt your
anybody.
Lord's
On
Day.
Sunday.
No, I'm just
Um,
kidding.
But yeah, that was that. What were we talking about? Oh, Walking Dead. Yeah, so
Walking
that's
Dead.
why.
Oh, like shows on Sundays. So
Yeah.
you were saying that all the superhero shows are now going to be Monday through
Sunday through Friday,
through
and
Friday.
Yeah, that's a lot.
they did talk about
is a lot.
the fact that because Legends and 2 other random CW shows were only 18 episodes or something, and now next year they might have another one of the superhero shows go to 18, which would be
Yeah,
kind of
it's-
interesting. I don't know how you pick it.
Arrow.
It definitely won't
No.
be. It definitely won't be.
I think Arrow would benefit from a
Shorter-
lopping
shorter
off 4
season.
episodes. I really
could.
do. Yeah.
It could. I don't. They will never do it to Flash because that's been the best
No.
ratings on the CW for years now. And
Maybe it's Supergirl. Who knows? It's been on
Obviously
hiatus forever, so.
well, that had to do with
No, I
filling
know.
Black Lightning. I don't think they'll cut Supergirl either because they're like second in ratings.
Yeah, Supergirl does pretty well. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are satisfied. Supergirl has like a fun, like a, I don't know, a happy-go-lucky vibe to it. I think people respond pretty well
It's
to.
comedic as well as serious.
It's
yeah.
comedic. I like
Melissa
it has
Benoist,
some-
I think, helps a lot too.
Melissa
Oh, yeah.
Benoist
No joke,
is
She's
awesome.
she's amazing.
I think I always compare it a little to Flash though, because it's happy-go-lucky, but I feel like there's some dark points in that show too.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
not like
Yeah.
Arrow, obviously, with
Arrow's
all that
just
dark stuff.
in its own ballpark. But we do have a
But
lot
yeah.
of renewed guest starring who is no longer, not guest starring, regulars, season regulars for.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Do you want to
with,
do that now, or should I say it
You
later?
can
So
say it
what
now.
show?
For Arrow?
Arrow, remember that?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So we have Colton Hayes, who's now a season
7.
7. Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah.
I keep forgetting which
That
season we're on
surprised
now.
me. I mean,
That surprised me too, because
No,
now
I'm
it's like
excited.
no, I mean like I
Roy
liked
Harper's back.
No, I liked the Red Arrow. I'm just like how like they were just set off to like destroy these Lazarus pits, like this huge mission, and now like
I don't know. Maybe they're gonna do like
What happens
half
to-
there, half in Star City.
I don't know. I don't.
oh, do you think
don't know.
actually that made me think? Do you think them leaving for the Lazarus pit is gonna be like the main story for next season?
I really have no idea.
I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say no. Yeah.
I probably wouldn't like that because they already kind of did that whole
Yeah.
League of Assassins thing. Season
No, I
3,
think
but-
season what season is it gonna
7.
be? 7
7,
will be
yeah.
the rise of William.
Oh, geez.
And we'll see what he
you
becomes,
laugh, but I told you he's gonna be Little Arrow.
He's
like.
gonna be
He's-
gonna be something. I
he's,
don't know.
He's a little
what.
something. Yeah. I think we'll see.
We'll see. But yeah,
All right,
no. So
yes, let's,
Colton Hayes is back, and he actually posted something on his Instagram with my stalking. that he's like, oh, I'm so excited to finally announce that I'm a regular in season 7 for Arrow.
7.
And he's like, ... and now I have to actually work out. So I thought it was
Okay,
really funny.
I agree with that, because not to shit on him, but
Wow.
when he was back for this episode, 2 episodes ago, he
Yeah.
just looked odd to me. Like I said, you said his
Well,
mom had
yeah.
just
Said
died. I
that,
think maybe
Yeah, his mom just
he's
died.
had a
He
tough
just got
time.
married and like
Yeah.
stuff like that. But it was funny when he actually posted like, oh, by
When
the
he
way,
posted
I really
that.
have to work out now.
That's good. He's
I know you
coming
do have to
back,
stay fit. I thought Oliver had a little bit of a paunch this episode. Actually, he's walking around in his suit. I
in the
noticed
older
a little.
suit and the.
No,
No, I
his
mean,
business
he's-
suit, his mayor's suit.
Oh.
I mean, Oliver's super fit. I'm not gonna.
No, Stephen
Crap on
Amell is
Stephen
always
Amell, yeah.
he's always fit. But I
But he went from like
Yeah,
0%
super
body
fit,
fat
right,
to like 0.5, whatever he is.
Yeah.
But I mean, he
It's-
still looks great.
That's
Come on.
interesting.
Oh, huge crush on Stephen Amell.
Roy coming back for series regular is interesting in that what's happening with these current characters. Like I feel like they're
So
not.
compelling, these current characters.
I don't
Well, no, I know like some of them are iffy or whatever, but now it's like if he's coming back in this whole thing,
Who's
with
gonna
Arrow,
leave
like,
or who's not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is the Hoss?
We'll do. Yeah. Oh,
Boss.
jeez.
We'll
We'll
do-
talk about Arrow
yes.
when we
we
go
need to talk
there.
about the big thing,
But
which
let's
is
start with Legends.
Legends
season
of Tomorrow
finale.
So
the
I-
good,
Finale.
the bad, and the cuddly.
Yes.
Aptly named.
Great. Oh my god, it was a great episode. But I just want to say that Chris, you got so excited. We had like a group text going on. And Chris was like, "Can I spoil it? Can I spoil it?" And Dan
Was
and I
that
were
Tuesday?
like, "No, no, that
I think
was."
I waited a day to say anything.
Was it Tuesday or was
I
it
think it was
Monday?
Wednesday.
Was it? I think it was
I don't-
Tuesday because I was like,
Tuesday.
oh, maybe
Yeah.
they all watched it last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Tuesday. And your if you guys could see the chain text, it was pretty funny. He's just like, "I want to spoil it. No, I want to do it now."
I was like,
It's
Chris,
just not
no.
the kind of episode you casually watch, turn it off, and then forget
No,
about
no,
it.
yeah, yeah.
It was like, okay, I need to share this with somebody who knows what we're talking about. Especially because the week before we were I was in Providence. I took a giant picture of this
Picture-
gigantic
Beebo.
blue bear that I thought looked like Beebo, and then the next episode is a gigantic blue bear that looks like Beebo. That is Beebo.
That is.
I
Beebo.
know it was creepy actually.
It's almost like I don't know how, but I mean, it's been like a meme for the whole season. This Beebo, oh
This
Beebo.
Yeah, well,
It's
ever
almost,
since that one episode.
The
it was in.
Beebo-verse.
yeah, the
Versus
Beebo
yeah.
sucks, and it's almost like the writers were like, we're gonna keep this joke going,
I
and
know.
then we're gonna
Well, I
make
think,
it the season
I think
finale.
you said it's what the fans wanted.
It's what the fans wanted, and I was surprised that they were so dedicated to doing that because this must have been in the planning for quite a while. I think they
Right.
knew immediately that Beebo
Hit
had
it
its
off.
own thing, and that was a great
Right.
idea. But to have him show up at the end, which honestly I feel so dumb when it was happening. Even the episode title, I should have been anticipating it. I wasn't.
I wasn't either.
I
really wasn't.
Up until the last second, I was like, oh, maybe it's going to be like a Marshmallow Man, like Ghostbusters. Because
Yeah.
See, I didn't even know the title. I don't usually
Oh,
look
yeah.
at
You don't like it?
titles. No.
When they were like, "Oh God, what are we making here?" I was like, "What could they?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Like a huge monster?"
I
person?
thought
Like,
a
had
cameo.
no
I mean, I'm
idea.
not. I know I always mention Eobard. I'm not even kidding. I actually thought maybe it was going to be like one of the people from last season, like one of the main bad guys or something. But when Beebo popped up, and I couldn't stop laughing.
I couldn't stop laughing
Yeah.
either. I literally went to my TV and recorded it on my phone.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
whole
I couldn't
scene because
believe
I was,
that.
I was dying. It was
Oh,
so
it was
funny.
It was well done.
So
But I do have to point out that a lot of people from old episodes came back to this season finale. So
yeah,
we-
they like to do that with season finales. I think.
love
Bring
that.
back,
it was.
you
It was
know,
like a
old
roll call.
characters.
Yeah.
Like a curtain call at the end.
But we had everyone. We had Jonah Hex. We had
Jonah
Jackson.
Hex. That's right.
I love
It was
how Jackson came back.
I actually
That's
liked,
right,
Jackson.
I was liking
Yeah.
that.
They
Which
brought
he
him
had
back
a
with-
kid and
Yeah.
everything. I was like, wow.
Married.
Yeah.
They brought him back and they didn't embellish that too much. I like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everybody came back, it felt pretty real. Even
Yeah.
what we had Caesar, Blackbeard,
Oh my God, yeah,
and
yeah.
Helen
And
of Troy.
Helen of Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was great.
Well, no,
thought
I
it was
loved
great.
Helen's evolution, Themyscira, how she's become just a,
Themyscira,
Yeah, yeah.
That
well,
was
the three
great.
armies were Caesar, Blackbeard, and it wasn't Helen of Troy was on the legend
Helen Troy
side.
was on the good guys. Yeah, it
I
was.
forget the third one.
I don't. She was a
no.
Viking.
Oh, Leif Erikson's wife.
yes.
Sister.
Yeah, yeah.
Sister.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
man. Good man.
Yeah.
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 Well, I want to talk about the first 5 minutes of the show when it basically picks up where the last episode left off, and they're trying to, and Mollis gets his true form, and they figure out it's malice.
Malice, you said.
It's malice.
It's malice.
Which is like, oh my god.
So it's malice, like Malice.
Yeah.
Malice.
Yeah.
malice.
Okay.
But everyone was like, it's malice.
Yeah.
No, it's malice. It's
I
malice.
thought that was funny because
Mick
he
was
said
like,
that, and I was
"Malice."
like, "What do we keep?" I honestly didn't know what we call him anymore. I
Right.
was like, "Malice, malice, whatever it is."
So,
And just Mick's reaction. He's like, no, it's malice.
He was pissed. He's
so
like,
well, but what happens is he gets his true form, and then the legends have their totems on, trying to Nate's hurling a rock, and
Yeah.
Wally's throwing water, and I'm like, what is this gonna do?
I
Like-
know it was very ineffective.
Yeah. Well, they had no idea what they were doing. They were
Right,
just kind of like
exactly.
chucking things at him.
I know. It was funny to see Nate. He's like, "I'm gonna throw a rock." It's like, what is that
Right.
gonna do? And like,
I will say this, not to put a damper on this episode. I thought this was a good, fun episode. I thought it was not a good finale, though.
I got to disagree with everybody. I
No,
thought it
dude,
was a
you can
good. I
disagree,
thought it was
yeah.
a good finale. I didn't think it was a great episode.
Okay.
I'm kind of flipped on that because there were a lot of big moments that happened. I mean, maybe they're not really big moments. Like Rip.
Yeah.
Rip's not dead. I mean, he
No, of
got
course
sucked
not.
up.
Okay, I
whatever,
was
by
going
the
to
time
talk to
they-
you guys about that, because
No.
that whole thing in the first 5 minutes, they do that, and then they kind of just don't talk about it the rest of I was like, did we just see what Rip just did? First of all, what he didn't do much.
I feel like this episode was
And-
there was so much going on. I think it was just too much for the episode itself.
It was, and I felt like there were a lot of moments that didn't have impact that maybe should have had it. Even Damien
That's-
Dark, he becomes
Yeah, and
whatever.
then you don't
Big M,
see him at all.
and that takes
after.
place in no time. And honestly, there were a
Yeah.
lot of moments where usually I buy everything Sarah says. She gave a few speeches this time that I just didn't think were very well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like, big stuff would happen, but then it would just never get touched upon. Like the whole
Yeah.
thing with Rip,
It was like fluffed off.
that happened, and it's supposed to bring. They didn't even explain why that was going to work.
I know.
But it brings Mollis away. But then Mollis comes back. So then I'm thinking like, okay, if Mollis comes back, then where's Rip? Like Rip should still be alive, right?
And then I was also thinking like since Ray, changed the timeline, does Rip come back because of that?
I wasn't even thinking about that. Yeah.
Well, because Dark ends up
Because
becoming
Nora is no
Mollis.
longer Mollis, so I figured
Uh-huh.
like something happened, so he changed times and maybe
And-
Rip is back.
And Dark's dead, right? Because Beebo squashes him.
Quote unquote dead.
I mean, in
But
these
then
shows,
again,
you don't know. I mean,
then again,
'cause-
he was dead before.
Right.
So.
I know. I'm all for bringing anybody back. I don't really care. They die, bring them back. I don't need an
hope he comes
explanation.
back.
Yeah.
I
like
think if they
Dark.
bring Dark back, though, that's a bit much.
Yeah, but now it's like Nora's on her own, so maybe now she's on a quest to go find
I mean, it's
and bring back her dad.
a bit
That's-
much. We just had a gigantic Beebo fighting Mollis.
That's
and
all
that
I-
was like the big battle.
But
Yeah.
that's all I'm saying is that it was a good, fun episode. I was laughing hysterically when it was Beebo taking down Mollis.
Yeah.
I just, as for a finale, it wasn't doing it because I'm
I
a
hear
big
you.
I'm a
I
big
hear
you.
fan of finales because I think you need suspense. You need to be on edge. Like this, I really was just like, okay, they're win. And to put it in the perspective of the Legends show, I think the season 1 and season 2 finales were a lot better, a lot more on edge, a
I'd
lot
agree with
more.
And I
I'd
also
agree.
feel like
Yeah.
in this finale, it didn't leave you hanging. And
No,
usually
yeah.
finales do. Like
Right.
that, there's something to look forward
Right.
to for the next season. But I feel like that whole ending scene when they're on the beach
That-
and then,
Yeah, it felt disjointed. I think that's
just felt
that
like
was-
that's
yeah.
what I felt.
Right.
Like there didn't feel to be any kind of natural progression. Everything. It just things were ending because this was the end of the season.
Right.
Right.
That's why I was upset when you're talking about cutting the season short. Like Legends is not a show that they should do that.
No.
Because it would help to kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt rushed. It didn't feel connected. There were a lot of individual scenes that I loved, and I thought it was interesting how they kind of wrapped everything up in a nice bow. But I didn't really know how we got there by the time it was over. It didn't feel like it.
Thinking
natural.
about it more now, I feel like what you're saying is I feel like the show was kind of stopped a little short. I mean,
That's
because
what I'm saying. It feels
Yeah,
they
that
just
way.
kind of ended, and then they just ended because they had to end. And like you're saying, the ending when Constantine's like, oh, when you released Mollis, you released other stuff, and then it ended. And I
Which
was
is
like,
true. I mean, that's a good twist to
No,
it.
that's a
because
good twist.
It's a good twist for Constantine because now you know that he's a
right.
regular.
And now he's a regular.
Right.
But it literally, like, that ending scene was literally just like, okay,
it
we
was
need
comedy.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're gonna have this is next year's season 5 or
Four.
Four.
Next year's
4.
season 4, and we need to put this in because that's what's going to happen next season. It just, I don't know.
I don't know. There was just a lot of storylines happening, and the other one with the whole Zimbabwe. Is she not on the show anymore? Is like that's what I got from it?
Oh yeah, that's right. She leaves and doesn't wipe her memory.
No, she wants to remember.
Well, that's
Nate.
it. I mean, I was talking about that this like whole time we've been doing this. Is like, every time she stays on the ship, she's affecting time. She can't be with Nate and stuff like that. But I mean, they addressed it, and now she's back there. So
Right.
Yeah, and I thought I read that she's actually around for the next season. I don't know.
So
I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know, but it felt like she was gonna be no longer.
I mean, I like her.
I like her too, but
I don't know. I could maybe lose that storyline, the Zambezi thing, because now it's played out. Now it's everything's done.
Right.
With it.
right.
I
We
feel
have
like-
Zari's situation that's not. I actually thought they were going to address that this season. I guess that's something
I
for
thought
later
so
on,
Next
too.
season.
Yeah.
which is great because Zari, I mean, went from like my least favorite to like my top 3 in like this season.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like they've kind of moved on from that story. And Amaya, maybe she'll just be someone who pops in, almost like Rip. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
Rip's gonna
Could be.
be somewhere. But in regards
But you
to
guys don't think Rip's dead though? Seriously?
No.
Okay.
no, I
I
don't,
don't
I don't even think it's a chance. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's
If that was Rip's finale, then
That was a
Well, that's
shitty
what-
then you have
finale.
plenty
for
to
him.
complain about.
That is what I'm saying. Is it
That happened in
happens
the first 5 minutes
First
of the
5
episode,
minutes,
yeah.
it
Yeah, I
happens,
know.
and I'm like,
There's no
Rip
way.
started this whole team, and now it's just like,
Yeah.
what? Like, is this?
Yeah, no.
Gideon's
Especially-
like goodbye, Rip, instead
Yeah.
of Captain. That was nice. I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
And then,
And
especially
I
'cause-
kind of thought she would have made like a physical appearance if he was like
Another
gonna
physical
die.
appearance.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she would have just popped out and be
Chris is
like,
like-
"I've loved you forever," blah blah blah. Because they like
I know
they
they're,
both
they're in
love
love.
each other.
I
yeah.
know. I know.
So that's what I thought. So I was like, "Oh, there's no way Rip's actually gonna die for that
Right.
reason and for the reason that he
Right.
started this
it
whole
just
thing."
felt weird. If one, yeah, he started the whole thing. They put it in the first 5 minutes, and then, but also another thing that makes me think he's gonna be alive is he does the time ship thing, and Mollis comes back from it. So it's like, well, where did Rip go? He
I
might
mean,
be just like lost in time.
If you
want to
get rid of Rip,
He's in Flashpoint.
he's
He
in
may
the,
be.
Speed
the
Force.
timeline. Yeah.
yeah, he's in the Black Lightning verse or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you want to get a Rip, you have Malice step on him or whatever. Like, you know, the whole reason of having him do that time thing is so he's, you know, unhinged in time or whatever. Maybe
Right.
he's like Sam Beckett, quantum leaping through, you know, whatever.
Who knows where he is?
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
we will see him again.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I believe it.
we were saying there's so much that happened this episode. I actually loved. I mean, Damien Dark, I love. We don't get him for very long this episode. We only get him.
I know,
he's
it's
in
like 5
prison
minutes.
in the Wave Rider,
Yeah.
and
I did like that whole scene. Sorry to interrupt you.
yeah, you're
That
gonna say
whole-
the same thing I am. I
The
think, yeah.
with Ray and Dark, that whole scene.
He's like, don't wave. Yeah, don't wave. They're
don't
trying to get him
wave.
out, trying to sneak him away, and like it's nice to have a villain. I think it's really contrived to have a villain who's the ultimate evil and
Yep.
you know, like just is always the bad guy. Like Dark's
Yeah.
just a guy who kind of realizes, yeah, I'm a dick. Like I want to change the world, but I also love my daughter. The reasoning's
Right.
very
Right.
sensible, and I really like that. Like Damien Dark, something I kind of I don't want to say relate, but you can see where he's coming from a lot of the time.
And I do also like the scene with him and Ray when Sarah's talking to Ray and she's like, "Do not do anything stupid," or like,
Yeah.
and you know, and
Yeah.
and she leaves and he's thinking, and Dark's like, "You're gonna do something stupid." He goes, "Yeah,
Yeah,
I absolutely
exactly
am."
right.
But just also the fact like old school Dark too would just snap his neck,
Oh,
you know, whatever.
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
instead he's just like, all right,
And
like,
that's why I like this
knows-
version of Dark.
yeah,
And
it's
what?
evolved.
Better
That's
than
why. That's why
Arrow.
if he gets
Yeah,
if he
yeah,
pops
yeah.
back up at some anachronism, then I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be too played out. You
No, I see.
You had him in Arrow. You
I-
had him
I get
season
it, I
2.
get it.
and
I
then
get
you have
it.
him again. Like,
I get
come
it.
on.
I mean, you're right. It should be Eobard that does that, but like, it's sometimes the characters are so good. It's like, why throw something
I feel
away
like-
that's so good?
Right.
I
you
feel
know?
like this was the ending for Dark, though. He sacrifices his life so his daughter could live, and then
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
hope
they
then-
not.
defeat Mollis.
Because
though.
that ending was like that, and
Oh,
then
it
it
was
was
too
over.
fast.
It was so quick. You just see him. I mean, actually, the CGI,
Did you
whatever,
see
was
his
really
face?
cool.
Oh, yeah, it was
my
really
God,
good.
I like that.
But I feel like the whole like Nora story backline now is she's gonna go and try to save her dad because he saved
yeah,
her.
because she's got the. She gave him. Ray gave Nora the time.
The
stone,
time stone.
That's
whatever.
right.
Yeah,
Oh,
so-
that's right.
Which
Because
I
they're
was
arresting.
so happy with that. Because
Yeah.
that means we get away from Nora to come back. You were saying she's always a guest
She's
star.
always a guest
Right.
star.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nora's great. Like she shows up, she comes back into the saloon or whatever, and they're like, "We need to find Damien. Or we need to find Dark." And then
Oh,
she
yeah.
walks in. They're like, "Whoa, whoa!"
Whoa!
She just
Yeah.
has this look on her face, like, "I know." Like,
It's like
relax.
I know, but
Yeah.
I'm back to normal.
Yeah, and the chemistry she has with the team, obviously, she's got a ton of chemistry with Ray,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it just she fits. She seems like
does.
she kind of fits in a way that the Legends, that show kind of is all about the camaraderie that the show has, and I think they do it well.
But I mean, there's still, sorry, Dan, there's still like a part
Poor
of her.
Dan's been trying to
I
say
know.
something.
No, go
Sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
Dan, shut up.
I just zip it.
Oh, man.
No, I feel like there's still a part of Nora that's evil because she wanted Mollis to come in.
Yeah,
So
I feel like she may have learned her lesson. You're right.
Yeah, but I feel like
yeah.
there's still a part of her that's evil. Go ahead, Dan.
Whatever this point
You
is,
have
I
the
hope
floor.
it's fascinating.
I was just saying that when she gets arrested by the Time Bureau and goes in, and then Ray gives her the Time Stone, and I was just very surprised that I guess no one on the Time Bureau is going to see that.
Yeah, I mean that's that's poetic license, I think, for the show. I guess with that she can just really she can break out.
She can break out
in a matter of minutes. You
Yeah,
know?
I mean I don't know what.
I don't know how you escape from the Time Bureau specifically, but
as if she has the stone, unless they find the stone, which would be logical that they would see it because it was like in her hand. But I don't know.
Yeah, but it could have been just like
her...
a sentimental rock. They don't even know what it is, technically.
Yeah, this has a bunch of symbols on it.
Sentimental rock.
It was my pet rock when I was in
rock.
elementary school.
Hey, you never know.
No, but I think they kind of left that there, and with her going to jail with the Time Stone, I feel like the writers kind of did that. So like, if they wanted to bring her back, they could.
Which I think they will.
Which yeah, I mean with Ray,
she's coming back.
Yeah,
I mean,
they'd be stupid to not have her come back.
Exactly. I mean, Ray's married to her. Like, there's going to be some reason to bring her back, and she was great. I hope they're able to do all that because I actually really like the villain to kind of maybe I should be a hero evolution. That's what I liked about Dark or Damien. So I want to see it with her too. That'd be great.
Yeah.
You know what else I really liked? Nate did a very convincing and a very well done stoned person.
Oh yeah.
He took too much of the spirit juice
Oh,
or whatever.
Yeah.
I love it. Ray has gotten high at least 3 times like this
Nate.
season. Yeah.
Nate,
Nate,
yeah.
not Ray.
Nate, did I say Ray?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Nate.
I mean, Ray loves to get high. I have no doubt. But, like,
When Nate, because Nate's gotten high.
been there a
before,
few
and
times,
He
yeah.
plays
Oh, yeah.
that like.
Oh, I
stone.
loved
It's
it.
so funny.
when Zari's
So
like,
funny.
"Wait, you're still stoned," and he just has this like dead face and is like shifting his eyes. It's all the
just-
look of someone who's stoned trying to act like they are
Oh my
completely
God.
supposed to be there and are control of their
Yeah.
faculties.
And can we bring up the fact that he's always like Voltron?
That's
Voltron.
funny too,
Oh
yeah.
my God, it's like I love
Voltron.
you.
No, I really like. There were a lot. Like I said, there were a lot of individual scenes that I was like, "Oh,
Yep.
this is fun," but it was just a lot for a finale. And you were right, Dan. Like it felt rushed. With one more episode, I feel like it could have been done a lot better. But when we finished the last episode, and Malice was revealed,
Malice.
Malice.
John Noble was revealed. That I was really surprised that it was the season finale was the next episode. I wasn't
Yeah.
keeping up with things, and I was like, "What? Like we just got his true form. I
They
thought we'd have a
didn't,
couple episodes." with
Yeah,
it.
I know.
They didn't warn us about
Yeah.
the coming episodes, like they did with Black Lightning. I know you don't have a cable or whatever. It's but they kept it on. Like this week, they were like only 2 episodes left. Black Lightning. I was like, okay, they should have did this with Legends because
Maybe they didn't know until last minute. I don't know.
I don't know.
Who knows?
I mean, it's over with. We haven't even talked about the best stuff with Beebo, but just in regards to the actual flow of the episode, I'm with you. It did feel awkward. Whereas usually the show is so polished, this one
Yeah.
felt a little awkward to me.
I for me, it's just finales. You need some suspense, you know, like with Flash. It's like, oh, Savitar, Zoom, Eobard.
I just feel like Legends is mostly comedy.
Yeah, I
and
don't hate it
that's-
for that reason.
That's
yeah.
No.
what I'm trying. I'm trying to be like, okay. For me, I feel like they kind of went more comedy this season than the last seasons. I
Which
feel like
I like that,
with season
but-
1 and 2, it was a little. There was comedy there. It was probably the most comedy out of all of the shows, but there was still okay. Like this guy's doing this and stuff. This year, I feel like it was a little more comedy.
Yeah, there was more comedy in this finale than I expected, but for me, this was a great season. I mean,
Absolutely.
right now, I would say it's the best season of all the shows that have been on. Maybe Black Lightning has been so consistently good. I might actually argue for that, but
For the
season-
awards.
for later when we try to judge which one we like the most. But I agree with you. Season 2 was the right mix of actual sinister plot with
Yeah.
Right.
comedy
Yeah.
because it was missing this year a little bit. But I think that's because
I
we
mean,
had such good bad guys to back it up.
The last episode of season 2, you know, you get like what
Love.
5,000 reverse flashes, and Sarah's
Love
there. It's
that
like, oh my
episode.
god, what's going on? What's going
Yeah,
on?
yeah.
I remember being like I was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And then,
Right.
yeah. But this is just like,
But they all
okay,
survived.
Yeah.
But
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
But this season, it's like, okay, Beebo takes down.
Beebo
Moss.
takes over. Then you have Gary, who is now like more
They kind of threw.
not of a guest star, but yes.
They kind of
No,
threw
good for
Gary
Gary.
in there just to kind of.
Gary slowly built up to being a bigger star in the show, and I
Yeah.
like him. I think he's a funny connection to the Time Bureau, where he, like the Time Bureau is a weird thing.
Yeah.
They it's like overseeing everything, but they seem to be completely inept. They're just there to clean up after the legends.
I know.
So I think Gary's a good addition to that, and seeing the previews of Constantine being the next season, I'll be honest with you, I'm not like gung ho Constantine.
Ugh,
He
I'm
lays it a
excited.
little thick for my taste, but it'll
I'm
be a fun new
excited.
dynamic to the show next
I think
season.
it'll. Yeah.
Because it'll bring something completely different from just time problems. This is
Yeah.
like dimension problems. And then we're
Yeah.
going to get Dr. Fate. That's my
Oh.
prayer.
Yeah,
that we
your
get Dr.
prayer.
Fate. I would
I would
love
I would
that.
love
I
Dr.
just
Fate.
like the whole Constantine thing because I obviously read the comics and I
Yeah.
watched the
You watched the show. I didn't watch the show.
I watched
Yeah.
the show, and I think Matt Ryan himself is probably one of the best Constantines right now. Like
He's
I-
competing with Keanu Reeves.
yeah, that was horrible. But no, but I think this addition to him coming, you say he comes on like a little strong.
It's not even. I
feel like it's
I'm
his
not. I shouldn't even.
personal
I shouldn't even
taste,
complain
right?
about it. Yeah, I mean, believe me, he does it well. It's good.
No, I'm not-
It's just
yeah,
a
no.
personal thing. I wouldn't. If I had to hold it up in court, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying I think it's a good addition because it's not a character or someone like that you have on the Legends.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like
I think
it.
we would rather have Dr. Fate. I think that's what we were trying to
Well,
I really think Dr. Fate's going to happen. I just don't know how you have Constantine bringing in different dimensions.
say. It
and
is going to
demons
be
and stuff
different
like that.
portals.
Who
and stuff
deals
like
with that? That's Dr. Fate. I mean,
Right.
Horus.
it'd be so wonderful.
you
but,
never know; it could happen.
I'm very interested to see with. I mean, now we're getting into predictions for next year, I guess. But with Constantine, he deals with the dead, undead. I mean, you know more, but like.
Yeah.
Is he gonna be like fighting at all, or is he gonna be sitting in the Wave Rider, being like, "Okay, we got to do this spell, this spell"?
Oh, no,
Well,
he'll
no,
be- he'll be
because
fighting.
he'll be fighting because at the
Yeah.
end of this finale, he says you opened up a portal for all
Yeah.
other evil entities. So therefore, he's gonna put in his 2 cents of demonic
Right.
possession.
He'll just be part of the team.
Yeah, he'll be
like
like he'll be
anybody
like
else,
another
so-
Mick. I mean,
Okay.
Mick doesn't do
Yeah,
anything.
poor
But-
Mick.
Just eat cake.
Yeah. That's.
I actually, speaking of Mick, his character was making this evolution of kind of like a little bit well-rounded. They really dialed that back.
I know.
Where now he is just like a eating machine that makes quips.
Oh yeah, they went back.
It's too bad. I thought they were really evolving his character
And
to
they
be a
gave
little
back-
bit more than just
They gave back
disposal.
the totems, so there's no
Yeah.
totems for
Yeah,
anyone.
I feel like Mick needs like a really good sidekick.
like
Snart.
Captain Cold.
I know that would be awesome if
Yeah.
Snart came back, but I'm saying like a new addition so he can have someone to like.
Yeah, I just
Be
if,
with.
if he would just not be such a hammy character all the time, I'd be fine with it. But listen, I'm not going to complain about Legends. I look forward to it every week. I had great time with this season.
Yeah.
I love the Cronenberg baby they first made when they messed up trying to make the first.
Yeah, that was so.
They called it a
creepy.
Cronen baby, and I was like,
Cronen
oh, that's
baby.
great. Yeah. You ever watch a
Uh,
Cronenberg movie, you want to vomit like
yeah.
10 times throughout it, but they're great movies.
There was another between Jonah Hex and Zari that
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was another storyline.
Interesting.
But you like
that kind of came out of nowhere. I
I'm
was
looking
like,
at
oh.
something on Instagram when they posted like the whole thing with where he's like, "Oh, nice hat," and you
Oh, I
know,
saw that. Yeah, it's
thank
like,
you,
that
ma'am.
was a
And she's
joke.
like, obviously joking.
Yeah.
Obviously joking.
Like they're both sense of humor.
No, good for that. Yeah,
Slow
I guess
on the
Jonah.
sarcasm.
I don't know how that can be an actual relationship, but maybe that was just something to fill in the episode. But
Yeah, that's why I was confused.
Jonah
I was
lives
like, are
in
they
the
gonna?
past.
Jonah Hex.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, but it was it was also funny when they're all doing the whole spell with the totem and they can hear each other's thoughts. And she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Jonah Hex is hot," and they're like,
That
"We can
was-
still hear you."
Yeah.
And Nick was saying something, and then that's when Sarah was like, "You could do worse." I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God.
yeah, best Jonah Hex since Josh Brolin, I think.
Josh Brolin did.
Did you guys ever see that movie?
No,
Jonah
I
Hex?
did
Oh,
not.
okay.
No.
Oh, I highly recommend it. Great movie.
I was
You-
never a Jonah Hex fan.
I thought you didn't like Jonah Hex, Chris. I thought you didn't.
No,
like
I'm joking.
He's-
The movie's terrible, and I don't like the character.
No, he's
On
being,
Legends,
he
that's
was,
what
he
I'm
was
saying.
being sarcastic.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No. I meant for
It's
yeah,
acerbic.
for
Yeah.
the.
No, he was okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't plan on shitting on Legends this much, but I don't care about Jonah Hex very much. I tried to read those comics ages ago. It just never did it for me.
Yeah.
I just don't find the character very interesting. But
Yeah.
yeah. But Beebo was in it. I had a good time with Beebo.
Big Beebo.
Beebo made all the moves. Did the little Matrix come at me moves
right.
and stuff.
It's like, come here.
Oh, it was great. Like, I feel like the whole show is going to have recurring Beebo moments. Or like
Beebo socks.
I
Beebo
just
shirt.
I couldn't stop laughing. I literally was crying because it was so funny to
I
see
can't
him
believe. I mean,
full size.
the first Beebo episode that was actually in December because that was the winter break episode. The last.
Yeah.
Right. I remember
I
when
was
I
like,
hadn't seen the show yet, and I was talking to you guys about it. And I'm like, oh, I saw like what's the last episode? Something about like a furry character.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
oh, you guys you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. And I was
Love
like, I
Beebo.
don't know what that's about. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys have any predictions for next year?
I
Other
think
than there's portals and stuff like that.
I
Obviously.
actually think the Ava storyline is going to be a big part of next year. It's a
Yeah.
complete guess, but I feel like her origin and stuff dealing with her future period being like that time period she's from being verboten. I feel like that's going to play.
I think
They set
so
that up
too.
for some reason.
Yeah, they definitely set it
Yeah.
up.
And they didn't really get into it. They kind of just said,
That's
"Oh,
what I
you're
mean. I
clone."
love
Yeah,
that.
it was
didn't
only
get
like half
into-
an episode of it.
Just a
Yeah.
lot of questions, and now Rip's not there to kind of answer them,
Right.
and some of that's going to come by, or maybe she'll be injured and they have to go back and pick out a
Yeah.
new Ava model, 4.0 or
Yeah.
whatever, 15.0.
Remember, she's the
Ava-
12th
yeah,
one.
Ava
so far,
13.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be that storyline as well as, whatever evil has been brought from Mollis, opening the portal to Mollis.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Who knows who the
with
villain
Constantine.
will be.
It's gonna be an interesting next season for sure.
Yeah, I mean this show's amazing.
Yeah.
No, it really
I'm
is
very
amazing
excited.
how well they did an entire season, and they made it fun. Like every episode was fun. Even this last one, I had problems. I had a ton of fun watching this episode.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
me too.
Like I
Legend
said, a
just
good,
really
fun
impresses
episode.
me. Yeah, I mean, I wish all the shows would remember, hey, it's okay to have fun. You don't
Yeah.
watch The Flash and Arrow to just be depressed.
Right.
And I would like to watch a show and have fun,
Yeah.
and this show does that. So
Yeah.
No.
props to it completely.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
Legends, and
That's it. And then
great episode.
come back in like October, I think. Probably.
Is
right?
it? Yeah,
Is it October?
September,
That's
Yeah,
so
they
far
usually,
away.
they usually come back in
Yeah.
like October. Yeah.
That's too bad.
So far away.
But yeah, great season.
Great
For
season.
me, second
Mhm.
best, I would do 2, 3, 1, my favorite seasons in order of Legends so far.
2, 3.
I loved the second season so much. I'm not just kidding.
Did you
about
like
Eobard.
Did you like Eobard or something? Was that it?
Is that the Reverse Flash?
Yeah.
Eobard? Yeah,
or is
I'm-
it the backwards? Something
yeah,
like that.
I
don't
loved
know.
it. I loved it. I just thought, like you were saying, a perfect balance of humor and drama with
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
But
for sure.
still,
Well, we
fantastic
might talk
season.
about Legends again if you put it up for an award or something
Yeah, maybe I would.
Oh yeah, there you go.
for best season.
And
This
plus,
one.
we do have Miss Sarah Lance coming for season finale of Arrow, so
Yes.
Oh,
that's
boy.
right.
That'll be good.
That'll be
Oh
interesting.
boy. Yeah.
it'll be very interesting. Anyway, so moving on to the Flash.
Flash.
which is
That's
back.
right. Been
Yay.
gone for a while actually.
I know. Yeah, I thought I would be more excited watching The Flash, but I mean, is it just me? I thought this episode sucked. I hated it.
Sucks, really?
Sucked. I thought Ralph, who I've been loving this season,
Whining too much.
was the most annoying character I have seen on The Flash in a long time. Almost as annoying as like what was that guy? What was the guy that I'm dropping all my names. Flash's wife, Iris West, when she became Purple Flash and she went up against that like no-name bad guy at the very end.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Who
Just
did
for no
the-
reason.
Yeah.
Like Ralph was just constantly like when things are grave, Ralph is just like making jokes and everything. It's
Yeah.
like that's
mean,
okay
they-
to be lighthearted,
yeah.
but not
not fully.
100% of the
That's-
time, because I would be like, Ralph, you're a moron. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing right now?
And you saw Barry getting. I mean, the whole beginning part of the episode was basically Ralph joking around and stuff, and
Yeah.
making jokes over everything,
Constantly.
which is
It's his
so,
way of coping, which sucks because you can't have it like you said, Chris, 100%.
Yeah,
Then you won't
I
take
mean,
it seriously.
completely doing it, even 80% of the time, whatever. But like he was making a joke at every single situation, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
no, we really need to practice because people are dying, and Jurgen might die too. And can you help us? And he's like, oh yeah, like we could be the DC Comics, like zing. I was like, that's funny, but there's a real situation here, and I'm not. It like takes away from the gravity of it if that's how he's actually responding to
You
it.
know what I found interesting was the episode before this was Run Iris Run, and obviously this episode you get Ralph joking every second, blah blah blah. But the episode before, he was very dark because I went back and rewatched the
Yeah,
That's
he was
what I
very-
liked.
before. He was like, oh, "All right, I'll go write my will." Then I was like, and now he's like joking.
now he's
I
the
was like,
complete opposite.
"What is?"
That's what
going
I mean.
on
The
here?
whole arc of his character changed this episode just because it is written, you know, and it didn't seem to really build to that or earn it or anything. I thought it was really odd because I would love to.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's very odd, but I also think that he's like beyond scared right now, and I don't
hate Ralph
and I
as
think
much
It's
as
one thing to
Chris.
make a joke
No, I
occasionally
totally
as a
agree with
reaction.
that.
It's another thing just to become a comedian in every situation.
Well, I think the point of this episode was for you to get annoyed at him in the first half, so that at the end when he saves Barry,
the day. Yeah.
it's like,
Great
oh,
success.
look at that.
You know, that's the thing too with the Flash. This has been my favorite show for a long time, The Flash, and it's kind of upsetting me because it seems like it's losing something that's important to the show. One, Barry has to be an idiot in order for these episodes to work because Barry's falling. Barry, you can stop yourself from falling. You just use your arms. You've done it before.
I was gonna say
It's a very normal solution, a very normal thing for him to
yeah.
solve. But in order for these situations to arise where somebody else has to use their
Save the
powers,
day, yeah.
Barry has to just be an idiot. And he's like, guys, what do I do? It's like, what do you mean, what do you do? Like,
Yeah.
you could solve this before they even have a chance to blink, but he doesn't do it.
I was actually thinking that as he was falling, I was like, you can just move your legs really fast and then plant yourself, you'll be fine. And then
Yeah.
I don't
mean, and
know,
that's a cool
it's-
problem when he's floating up and everything. I was like, whoa, how's he going to solve that? It
Yeah.
actually is interesting. But
Yeah.
once he starts falling, you don't need Ralph to be a whoopee cushion to solve that. You know, that's
But I mean, the whole premise of that was so Ralph could save the day, and you
Right.
know.
yeah.
bring
yeah.
it back
Yeah.
and all that.
But no, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this villain though? So this is the second to last bus meta, and she
was pretty cool.
She was good.
I don't.
Yeah.
Is it like she puts anti gravity matter and like
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
she,
float
she,
up
like,
and then
changes the atomic
Weight.
reaction.
speed,
Yeah, yes.
force,
Yeah.
all that. So basically, people float or whatever floats up, but then it ends up like crashing down. You see the car that was crashing
yeah.
down. Barry got
You
flies
know, that's a
in.
great. I don't know how she was going to solve. I guess that guy was just going to die if the Flash didn't show up
Right,
because that
right.
car was
Right,
already
because that
falling.
was her like backup plan,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
But I don't know who. If you're out there, extra actor, screaming actor number 6
Yeah, you
in that
did
car,
very well.
he did a great job. That guy was very convincing, falling from the sky. He was. I watched it a little. I always go back and watch little scenes, and that guy was
He was
awesome. Yeah.
screaming at the top
Screaming.
of his lungs.
And I feel so bad for these extras too because they can't have lines. You got to pay them if you give them lines. So like they're like,
Right.
"Hey, like I saved you," and he's like,
Yeah, like, he
maybe
couldn't
he
say
said
thank
something.
you.
Maybe
No,
I'm
you
not
know,
remember,
Barry
but
was like,
you
"Stay
see it a lot
here,
of
help
times.
is
Like,
coming,"
a lot of
yeah.
these extras just have to make that kind of like goofy faces because they can't say anything
Right.
unless the SAG gets on them. But yeah, it was a good power. It was interesting. It was something I wasn't expecting. That kind of power and how it wears off, which is
Yeah.
kind of an interesting meta power that has interesting effects on people. And yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah, I
Like
liked it too.
yeah.
I liked her whole like demeanor.
Yeah.
And you know, her blue hair and like
yes, the
I
blue
really
hair.
liked her vibe.
Yes. I liked it
Yeah.
too.
like
Yeah.
the two workers trying to lift that.
Silent
Two
Bob.
work, Jay and Silent
Jay
Bob.
and Silent
man.
Bob. I was like, yes.
Yeah, I'm not a
God.
big Jay and Silent Bob. I'm such a curmudgeon. I'm sorry, guys. Like,
Oh,
I did-
come
not a huge.
on. Come
I saw
on.
it and I was like, oh, okay, this is the episode. I forgot this is the Kevin Smith episode, which he's a decent director. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's very-
I wish
he's
he had a
very
better
good.
episode to handle than this one.
He's directed a bunch of Flash
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
Yeah. And Arrow, actually.
But when they're trying to move the box and and then Jay and Silent Bob and everything, and then
Come on, that was
she makes
fun.
it float
I
away.
used to watch
I don't.
that
I have
all
zero
the-
nostalgia for them. I've had so many friends that love them. And I've had to watch the
honestly
movie so many
never-
times. It
I
just
never
does
watched
nothing
it.
for me.
I
Yeah.
didn't even know anything about it until you guys just said it now. And then
Really?
You're kidding, really?
I was just finding that scene funny. Yeah.
Oh, it's Jay and
That's because
Silent
we're
Bob,
older.
yeah,
Because
we're-
when I grew up, it was like Mallrats and Jay and Silent Bob
Was
Strike
it was
Back
just
and-
like a
They made it into a
cartoon?
movie. No, it was a
Oh.
movie. Jay and
Oh, they're in a
Silent Bob.
ton of stuff.
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. I mean,
You should look it up.
you ever seen
Yeah.
Dogma or anything?
No.
There's a
Oh,
lot of movies.
Dogma,
Dogma, I think
yes.
is really good. Actually.
And there's those two actors.
So the one is the director, the fatter one, Kevin Smith.
The mute one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other one, they did the famous movie Clerks. It
Oh,
was like
okay,
yeah.
independent
And then
movie.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. It was like something stupid like that.
They do a lot of stuff with Matt Damon.
And so those
Ben
are the
Affleck,
two.
Those are the
actors?
two
No,
main
there's the two
Yeah,
main
yeah.
actors, but we're not thinking of all the movies. There's
Okay.
many of them.
Okay.
many of them. But those
Yeah,
were the
but,
two main characters. So when they were,
Yeah.
in the security.
I mean, I
trying to-
found it funny, not even knowing. So that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Definitely, yeah.
No,
Well, then you probably like
so
the
you'll
check
probably
out the
like
movies.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
No,
'cause
but
just,
I
like-
was laughing at that part. I
Yeah.
was like, yes, Jay and Silent Bob.
Well, because when they leave, and then obviously the villain's name's Null. Null.
Null,
brings it,
yeah.
Brings it
Null.
up, and the guy's like, where'd it go? I was like, oh my god, this guy's dramatic.
No, he's supposed to be like
Jason Mewes.
dumb. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's supposed to be dumb and like, yeah. Just watch the movie.
No,
if you
yeah,
ever
I
watch
mean,
it.
I found that part funny, and then it crashed.
But yeah,
down
Kevin
and-
Smith is like he's supposed to be a mute, so he
Yeah.
does. That's why he didn't have any lines.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
But it also, this is when Ralph really annoyed the hell out of me this episode. And like you said, if that's on purpose and that's,
I feel like it is.
Hell
but
yeah,
I feel like it just was an unreasonable way to portray Ralph at this point. After all the stuff we've gone through with this character, to have him just be like a Joker at this point was like, what are we doing? But he makes them drop that vase or whatever that's priceless and all this. It was just
the
another
guy's
moment
like,
where I was
what are
like,
we gonna do with this?
I laughed at that part because
but he's
like,
using his powers like in broad
Oh, that-
daylight.
I
that-
know.
I'm like,
that was
Ralph, like
dumb.
you're not only dumb, you're not only annoying. Like I
That
was
was-
loving you this whole season. Now you're like my least favorite
that
person
pissed
this
me off,
episode.
actually, a lot. And
yeah,
like,
it's like why
And
would you
Barry's
reveal
reaction
it?
is just like, yeah, like
He
what are you
could-
doing? And then
Barry couldn't do anything.
they found out
It's
later, like, oh, by the way, you guys are banned from crime scene. So it's like Ralph has fucked
Yeah.
up so much in just like
What
20
I-
minutes.
what annoyed me with this whole thing is like Ralph fucks up there. He's like using his powers. Barry's like, dude, what are you doing? And Barry's like kind of not yelling at him,
Trying
but
to
like,
address
yeah, like just
Yeah.
being like,
real
Ralph,
problem.
like, what are you doing? And then I think it was like Iris that's like, just let him do his thing. And it's like, yes, let him do his thing, but also I feel like
but
Barry
not
should
in
have been
broad
like,
daylight.
he's being dumb with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's what was kind of annoying.
It's
me,
one
but-
thing to like actually do what you're supposed to do and then make a joke. Like I said,
Right.
they're trying to practice, but if you finish it and do it right, and they're like, oh, whatever, that was a sticky situation or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to just not be able to do it, act like an idiot, and just make jokes, it's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have to say though, besides everything with Barry and Ralph and all that, I
Big
did like
storyline.
the DeVoe storyline.
Oh my goodness.
I like that quite a bit too.
That was crazy.
That was
actually.
intense. Intense.
Because
What's his? I always forget his wife's name. I end
don't-
up calling
I
her
don't-
wife.
I think that
I feel
her
bad.
supervillain name is like the mechanic.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
But, but we don't know her
Like Jason Statham.
name.
Yeah.
They might have said.
I
it,
got
like,
that
once.
reference.
Yes, yeah. I like that.
Like they might have said it like once or something, but
Well, whatever it
But-
is.
But like that whole scene was just like I didn't know what was going on at first, and then when she plays the video or like records the video and then plays it back,
Yeah.
saying like you've been drugged.
yeah.
I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's
creepy.
Because
It's
we
funny.
saw it happening firsthand,
Yeah.
but then you didn't. I didn't realize that it was still continuing.
Mhm.
Right.
Her
I
being
mean,
drugged.
in the whole thing at the beginning, DeVoe's like, "Oh, we got 2 bus metas left," which is true. There actually is 2, and then she's like, "Oh, what about the Weeper?" And then I was like, "Oh, that's right. She doesn't know
Yeah.
that he got the Weeper to drug her."
Right.
Yeah, who knew DeVoe was susceptible to like Freudian slips? The guy's
Freudian-
a genius, and he's like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's 3.
I
you're
forgot
right.
the one
Like-
that's got the power that I'm using to manipulate. you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, she finds out. She's like, "Oh my god, I need to make sure I remember this," and then it's file saved in the same thing. It's the same video she already created. I was like, "Oh my god,
And
That was
saved
creepy.
under the same name.
That was
That was
crazy.
creepy.
That
Like
was very
realizing that
creepy.
your efforts are completely futile
Yeah.
and knowing you can't do
Oh
anything
my
Can't do
to
it.
solve it. Yeah.
Unless
And
she
then-
saves it again under another name where DeVoe can't find it.
Well, I
Well,
was
how does
looking at
she
the
remember,
files there.
though?
There were a few different file names of recipes that I was thinking maybe, but
Oh, you looked at all the other
DeVoe knows. I mean,
files? I
well, I,
don't know.
I think they might have just been actual recipes.
Right.
I don't know. I'm guessing.
no, but
but-
it was like
but
her
you're right, no-
lemonade one or something
Lemonade
like that, right?
recipe.
But-
yeah.
Lemonade, yeah.
That's a creepy thought. I mean,
It's
honestly,
very
I, I,
creepy.
I
Well, yeah,
really
'cause-
liked how well that was done. I
and-
miss the kind of DeVoe. We even had a real DeVoe Flash confrontation.
But
How
you-
long has that been?
no, it's been a
It's
while.
long time.
Wow.
Well, since
I mean,
that
when she
since
when
she
he
took
got
over the new body.
Izzy, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
Yep.
DeVoe is still in Izzy's body, and
Which,
she's
by the way,
getting
she
weak.
Sure
does a
is, sugar.
she does a phenomenal
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
I
She
like
does.
her a
She's
lot.
a good actress. Yeah.
She's good. I miss the other cute one I really
Oh,
like
yeah,
too.
yeah,
But
yeah.
this girl's great
Becky.
too.
This
yeah.
Becky, yeah. This
I love
girl's
that you keep
great.
showing Becky's photo on the
With her
the
like
board.
all messed
Yeah,
up.
and she's like,
She's got this bizarre look. Like, what a great actress. Even in the screenshot, she's got a
Right?
great.
That's her screen
Like her
test.
headshot is like a award winning.
But yeah, so and basically she's DeVoe's getting antsy with this body. It's like, oh, it's not gonna hold up, and then
I have a question about that while you're talking about it. Is he really? I mean, I think time is crunching, but
Yeah.
time has been passing, and he keeps telling her, "Oh, this body's only got a week," and then later on, he's like, "Oh, this body's only got a week." Like, what is the actual time frame on that? Because he's just lying to her.
so
I feel like he's got a short amount of time, but it's
I
not
remember
a week.
the
No, I
second
don't-
time that he says it, he's like, oh, I got a week. But I thought the first time he said, oh, it's a little over a week.
Oh, did he?
So
I missed
Yeah.
that.
If
then.
that- I
okay.
think that
because
might
he said
have
it's
been it.
exactly a week at the
I
end. He
think-
said
Yeah,
exactly
that's
a week.
why. Because I think
Yeah.
at the beginning it was like over a week.
Oh,
and
okay,
I
then-
just
good,
feel
good.
like the host can't keep the body for more
Right,
than
because-
2 or 3 weeks,
and-
or else it'll. Yeah.
And he says that because he has like all these powers, and it's like
Right.
overloading and stuff. And
Which, if you think about it, is dumb. It's like, why wouldn't you go into your original body? And then, because you're going from host to host, but each host can only last for a week or 2.
well, yeah, I
So-
think the thing was his original body couldn't handle the chair dark matter thing anymore.
Yeah,
so
but now that he's
going-
so powerful, I feel like he could
Um,
like reciprocate it.
That
and
would be
do-
nice if his original body's on ice or
Yeah.
something, because that actor's really good. Like, I was really buying that actor that played DeVoe.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and this girl's great too, but I would, you can, it helps identify with the face. You know?
Right. I mean, now you're just kind of identifying. It's like
Yeah.
almost a different person.
But we should give
Uh,
credit. That's why I wanted to remember his wife's name, because I feel bad just being like, oh yeah, DeVoe's wife, but she
Yeah.
nailed it this episode
Oh,
too.
she was great.
Yeah.
And her 10 minutes, of screen time, like
Yeah.
that whole story was really creepy, and she played it very well.
Yeah.
And she's like crying and convincing, and
Mm-hmm.
and by the end, he's basically found a way to make it permanent. He's like, I can replace your
Which is
memories, and he's like
just-
injecting her or
I
whatever.
know that scene was crazy where
Do
she
you
got
see that?
injected.
That reminded me of like the Brainiac like ship like
Yeah.
shoo-shoo. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my
I was
god.
like, oh my god,
That was something. I mean, and she's just like a little puppet
She
for him
is.
now, and
And,
it's nasty.
I don't know how she gets out of that because it's.
I kind of hope she does. I really
Oh,
want
yeah,
her
I
to
mean-
like realize it for real and
Yeah.
do something about it.
She
'Cause,
may.
I mean-
It may be one of those like she's the one who helps them. Has a last minute regret.
But
Yeah.
see, this
and
is
helps
like.
them defeat.
I
him.
know what you're saying because we've been saying she's gonna turn at some point, but
Yeah.
like now, like they put in this possibility that like, she's remembering. She wants to know like, okay, I keep getting drugged, but like, he keeps on tracking her down. He even says, because she's like, oh, how many times has this happened? And he's like, a lot. Like this happens many, many times. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness.
It's interesting too because we're having somewhat of the same evolution with intelligence, with not just the thinker, because he's basically becoming less and less of himself.
Right.
Especially how he's
More
treating his
yeah.
wife.
Yeah,
He's
more
like
of the
not human
powers.
anymore.
Right,
Yeah.
and you're seeing the same thing with Wells, who
Yeah.
there's some weird things at the end of this episode that I think are kind of a fake out, but
Yeah.
basically Wells is becoming more and more of a dick the more he uses this thing,
Yeah.
and because he's able
It's
to
taking over.
right,
yeah.
and I think that it's like that idea of like the brain power is basically losing your emotional connection to people and justifying everything because you can see 30 moves down the road.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like everything's justified if you just get to that end goal, which is not the way it works. The ends doesn't justify the means and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
it comes in handy, but at the same time,
sure, I mean he's able to solve a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
So-
he's definitely becoming more, like you said, he's becoming a dick.
the whole thing
Yeah.
with the thinking cap kind of annoys me. I mean, one, we've been saying for a while that, once he started putting that on, it's like, this doesn't look good. It looks like he's going to be really bad. Lose that emotional, like you guys are just saying. But also, it's like, Harry is supposed to be, like, really smart already. And, like, now it's just like a cop-out, like, oh, let's just put this on. All right, so you got to do this. Like, the whole tidal wave thing, I feel like Harry from before could have figured that out without the thinking cap.
Well,
Ah.
he mentions the explanation he gives is like he's judging off the curvature of the Earth and like atmospheric pressure, all this
Right.
stuff that nobody Wells and nobody can do that.
Right.
So I feel like that's kind of alluding to the magical power of the cap. But I know what you mean. Like, it's like, does Wells even need that extra push? Which I'm surprised somebody hasn't grabbed him out of his hand because he's acting like an addict the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he is.
The
And
way
the
that
whole
he
thing-
treats it.
And
is-
I'm glad that because they're going towards like destroying the thinking cap at some point, because if they just kept that around, that'd be kind of annoying. Just be like, but Barry, when he's falling from the sky, what do I do? Oh, hold on. All right, you got to do this like every single time. There's
No,
a
I
problem,
think by the end of the season it'll be destroyed.
Right, which is why I'm saying that's a good thing.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like Wells is more scientifically smart than he is anything else. I mean, like street smart. I don't
Yeah.
think he is.
No, he's not street smart.
Harry is he's
No, so I think that's why
anger
the
and,
cap
yeah.
kind of
Yeah. Well, it's just
solidifies it and helps.
who doesn't want
him.
that extra boost? I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
if you're
right, and, like,
smart,
what's-
you're even smarter.
What
Right.
you're saying is he actually, it's a good point that he is becoming kind of an addict with it, and he kind of just wants to use it whenever,
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
We were talking about people just being old and not fitting in. That's kind of how I felt about Roy. Although, like I said, I'm glad he's gonna be hitting the gym. But, Danny Trejo, who I like, he shows up occasionally as Breacher, but I mean, the dude is old.
He is
I
old.
know.
You know, it's
You
funny.
can tell he has trouble getting around.
But I
like-
love him.
You
He's,
probably-
he's been in like
Oh,
every
he's been in
movie that I've
so
watched.
Many. He was
Yeah.
in
But yeah.
Breaking Bad too.
It just,
remember
I was
that.
really
Yeah,
happy. I was really happy that his storyline actually was like, you're just old.
Over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
he's
can't help you. You're
old.
just old. Which I mean, they could probably help him somehow. I mean, I know for the episode they wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could
We
use
could
that.
use the speed
I mean,
Force.
I liked that scene because it showed a side of Cisco, like funny and you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like at the same time, like holy crap, like you're getting old, you
Yeah.
won't vibe anymore,
It's-
and like coming to the realization that that's gonna be him.
Yeah, and basically all he can
And-
do is breach, which is nice
Yep.
to travel. But
Yeah.
as far as a threat, he's no longer one. And by
Right.
the end of the episode, he's vacationing in the Poconos.
Hey, he
whatever
got
he's
over
doing.
it pretty
He
quick.
got over it like
Got
that.
over it pretty quick.
Well, I think
Yeah.
it was his way of saying like, oh, finally, I'm like done. I
Right.
can retire.
I was.
I like that.
You probably heard me chuckling a little because I was writing my notes really quick, and I put like Breacher loses powers, but it was a typo, and it says Breather loses powers. So
How convenient. Breathe.
Breathe. Yeah, so that's interesting because now
Now there's an open slot.
the Breacher, tells Cisco like, "Hey, I want you to take
Oh
over
my
and stuff."
He's not going to. You think he will?
I mean, Cisco's like.
If they do that, that would just be such a mistake. I don't
Oh.
think it's a
Oh. I
possibility.
I thought you were
I
gonna
don't-
say something else. I'm so glad.
No,
you said that, 'cause
I
Cisco's, like,
I
the
saw it
best-
and I was like, wait, is this Arrow or what are we watching right,
Right.
now? I was like, are we breaking up the team again? But no, I don't think there's a high chance of
No.
that. If
No.
Cisco leaves the Flash, then that is just a
That's what I'm saying
gigantic
because I was
mistake.
I was
yeah.
gonna say Cisco is probably the most
Cisco
likable.
and
character.
Caitlin, if they both leave, the show wouldn't be the same.
And they create a
Yeah, I would even
new
say they
Team
hold
Flash,
the team together. Actually,
New
Yeah.
Team Flash and
That's right.
no,
Um,
so I
New
don't. I don't
Warehouse.
yeah,
could
new
see him-
warehouse.
I could see Cisco. This is a joke, kind of, but I could see him doing like
Both?
part-time Breacher. You know,
I mean, yeah, if they have episodes where he does something like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, you
it seems
know.
like a full-time job, though. I mean,
it does seem like
they're
a
basically
full-time
like,
job.
you should leave, and I was like, well, I'm not buying that he's actually going to leave.
Yeah, no,
but-
he
Right.
won't leave.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
maybe he'll like help Gypsy now and then because they're
Right.
both like in love with each other. So I don't know. It's interesting.
It's too bad we don't get to see Gypsy more because
I
she's
know.
she's
I
really
like her.
good and
Yeah.
the dynamics
what
good.
was the
with,
ending? They broke up, right? Like, was that the ending of that?
I guess, but it wasn't like I think it
feel
was
like they're-
mutual.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
almost
think
feel
it
like they're kind of still together in a
Right.
weird
No,
way.
I think wasn't
yeah.
it something like Gypsy was working so much they didn't get to see each other, so it was like, oh, we need space, we'll see each other again.
Yeah.
Yeah, something
and
like
like,
that.
but
So
you
it wasn't
can clearly
like a,
know that they both like still care
yeah.
for each
It
other.
wasn't like Jesse sending Wally a cube
Oh
and
my
like,
God.
yeah, go, you know.
Here's my breakup cue.
I mean, that led to Wally being a
A
Zen
legend.
master. Yeah, a legend, but he's
I know,
completely
it made him
unfazed by
better.
it. I'm
Yeah.
proud of him.
Yeah.
So I mean, we get to the. I mean, we can go back, I guess, to the Harry storyline, which you said the ending there is a fake out.
Yeah,
which I
well-
could, I could
before
see
we get to that,
but-
I just wanted to mention that Iris's explanation for Ralph, which I do buy at the end, I don't think they portrayed it very well, but she's basically like, Ralph provides an element of chaos against DeVoe, who is a logical thinker, and
Right.
Ralph is acting like an asshat, but being an asshat is not logical. So I feel like that was an interesting
I think
thing.
yeah,
A
it
little
was very
preview
good.
that Ralph is going to be the one to be like, when the
Well, that's-
battle's going down, he's going to,
He's
Right,
gonna think
dude,
of
make a
it.
something.
fart noise and
Right.
distract DeVoe. I mean, that's kind of how juvenile his
Well, that's
behavior was
when,
this episode, but
Yep.
that's what they're setting up, and it's something I can kind of get behind. I just hated how they executed it this episode.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
happened when Barry was falling. Barry was like, "Oh, do something Dibney-esque," and then
right.
whoopee cushion.
Improvise. Yeah.
Improvise.
Improvise.
Yeah. No, I think in the end, Ralph will be the one to, like you said, distract
To
DeVoe
save
somehow.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm sorry, you were saying about
Yeah,
What was
it's
I
the
saying?
ending.
Oh, Harry. Oh, well, no. what did you-
Wellsabard.
Well,
Well,
so
I
he
got
has-
confused. Like, can we revisit the ending?
yeah, let's. I mean, so
You got confused, yeah.
Yeah.
he can apparently he's always been able, and this is Harry. This isn't Wells.
This isn't Wells.
This is
Ha-
Harry.
Yeah, yeah.
He has been always been able to access the the hallway
Door.
room thing.
Secret room.
'cause-
DNA matches, yeah.
And apparently he goes there to charge the thinking cap, and then he goes to Gideon, and it's like, oh, you haven't been back here in
No, I don't-
1,089 days.
and it's a
I was
different
like,
voice.
wait.
I was kind of
I
upset.
don't think it was charging it. I think it was almost, he was using
Downloading
Yeah, he was using
Yeah.
its power, whatever.
Okay.
or Speed Force.
So I think
to-
I got confused with like, is this our Gideon from Legends or is this a complete alternate version of Gideon that hasn't gone to Legends yet.
That I don't know. I've
don't-
actually never known the distinction between the two. 'cause
Well, Gideon started on the Flash.
That's what I'm saying. But
No,
it
I
was
know,
then
but
went
I
to-
don't know if that's just the name that they called them Gideon, and that's
All the
there's like there's like
AIs
1,000
and
of them, like
stuff.
Avas
Yeah,
or whatever. I have no
From
idea.
what I understand, that's the same Gideon that
It was
Eobard
different. It was a
used
different
and
voice.
so
Did you
that.
notice
right.
that?
And
I didn't notice.
I
a
didn't.
different
I didn't
voice,
because
no.
was it Marina Baccarin that did the
I
original
think so,
voice?
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was not that same voice, but I also noticed that they were trying to make it seem like he was Eobard, and
like the well.
I
my
know.
Eobard antennas are very, very
You
fine.
were like,
right? I was like, that's somebody's trying to trick me. Right?
Yeah,
That's
you were
not-
like,
that's
this
not my
is
Eobard right now.
BS.
It caught me a little bit because he was talking. He's like, "Hello, Gideon." Like it was very sinister the way he delivered it,
Yeah.
like old school Wells
yeah,
Bard.
he was
but-
trying to be like that. I remember. Yeah.
But
maybe
unless
to trick Gideon, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I think it was. Or
Yeah.
just, it's funny she mentioned too. I had to look it up online. Smarter people than us were going through it, and actually the amount of days that she said, like, "Oh, it's been 1,000 days," or whatever.
1089 or something.
That's the last episode of the first season.
The first season, yeah.
So it's basically
Oh,
ever
jeez.
since Reverse Flash.
So
went
I
up
think
in a
that's
puff.
why he did that in that sinister
Really?
voice.
Right, he's
because
trying to
it's-
fool her.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
right.
with
Yeah.
the Eobard. Hello.
Which Gideon was
Hello,
always more
Gideon.
altruistic, I thought. I feel like he was just like, "Oh yeah, Reverse Flash is dead, and I'm so and so." She'd be like, "Oh, okay, great, nice,
She
nice
hasn't
to
been
meet you."
technically activated since season 1.
Yeah, well, he may just be playing it safe.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
then they say the days that. Yeah, but Harry, as he's in there, he's like, "I know it's been a long time." It's like,
Yeah.
I guess he's trying to.
He's trying
trick,
to, yeah, He's trying to
And
trick
maybe
her.
it is. Maybe it's somehow
think
it's reversed.
Maybe your bard comes back.
I don't
I
know.
want my Legends Eobard. I don't know the actor's name. I like Wells and everything, but for me, actually, I thought the other guy did a better Reverse Flash, much better. Actually.
Well, that actor was only in.
I thought it was the same- it's the
Couple
same
episodes.
actor.
Well, no,
no, it's
he's
played.
saying.
I'm talking about Wells playing changed face version.
Oh,
of
Harry
Reverse
Wells.
Flash,
Oh,
yes.
yeah. No.
I liked
yes,
the,
the other
actual
actor.
Eobard with
Yeah,
his
yeah.
original
and that's
face.
the actual.
Right.
Thawne, Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
I'm gonna look up his name.
But I feel like it is kind of like a false cliffhanger, though. I
It
feel
felt like that to me.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
gonna
for
find out
sure.
and be like, "Oh, I'm trying to learn new ways on how to improve the thinking cap." It's like,
Unless
okay.
the thinking cap, which could happen, channeled him with some kind of different version or something, but I just don't see it happening. Mostly because we don't have a lot of time left in the season, and
Yeah.
unless they're setting up for him to be kind of the Reverse Flash again, it just seems like a lot to handle right now.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah,
his
to
name
me, I
his
feel
name
like
is
it's-
Matt Leisure.
Yes,
That's what it was.
I never
Yeah.
remember the last name. I was actually thinking Matt, but
Yeah.
Matt Leisure. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
he's,
I
he's,
don't-
he's a big fan of the podcast. Just want to say hi, Matt.
Yeah, hi,
Hi,
Matt.
Matt.
He really, really, really nailed it. The second season
Yeah.
of Legends, I was like, that is the Reverse Flash. Yeah,
It is.
To-
charming but absolute
Charming,
sinister.
but oh yeah,
Sinister,
oh yeah,
dark, yeah.
very dark.
To me, I feel like Chris, you know this. I feel like if this was like another arrival for the Reverse Flash, they would have did it earlier in the season. I feel like
I mean, we're at episode what 18.
18.
Mhm.
I feel like doing it now. It's like now we're doing this different storyline. Like what's happening now? That's why I don't think it's like a.
Well, that's
Reverse
why I was
Flash
confused.
thing.
I was like, so is this gonna be like a Reverse Flash reunited kind of thing at the very end? Because I didn't know which direction they were going in.
We'll see what happens, but honestly, I feel it didn't feel real to me.
yeah.
But that's
Yeah,
that's just
it
my
was-
guess. I mean, I would welcome it. I think Reverse Flash is kind of essential. When you deal with the Flash, you have to deal with Reverse Flash, Professor
Yeah.
Zoom, and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
So,
know. But I
you know
think
what?
that
Actually, I think I liked the episode. The more we talked about it, there was actually a lot of
the more
elements.
I like it.
there were a lot of elements that are good.
I just hated how they've done such a good job with Ralph. I hated what they did with him this
Well, I mean,
episode. It's like
sometimes
Sometimes you
he
need
had
that,
like a good
you need that.
dynamic, and they
Yeah.
really made him.
sometimes the writers write characters for you to be
Hate
mad
it.
at.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
good
no,
to
I've-
be mad at
yeah.
characters.
I've
Well,
seen
all right,
Arrow.
we're not gonna.
I've seen
we're not
Arrow.
gonna. I knew he was.
He's like, I've seen Arrow.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
No,
All right.
Arrow redeemed itself in a big way this week.
Oh yeah, can't wait to talk about that. But let's move on to
I saw this guy on the street.
on the streets.
Last night I saw a superhero, he was black. He said, "This is for the street. Black Lightning's back."
Oh, whoop.
Oh yeah.
Black
This show is
Lightning.
so
It is
good.
good.
This
man.
episode was phenomenal.
It's gotten
And
stupid
guys,
good.
coming from me, that's a huge
I know,
thing.
I know.
I'm so. Oh my god! In the season finale's Tuesday, I think shit
even
is
with
going
Tobias
down.
back.
Yes,
I
exactly.
was like, this is
Tobias
really
being
good.
back.
That's the thing. Just have him come. Give like every time he
Space.
shows up, have it be like within like 4 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to crap on him. I actually thought he was decent this
I
episode.
thought
yeah,
it was
he
great.
was good. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the show
Good
is
episode.
so. I can't think of a show that's so consistently good that
And
that
getting better.
yes, but
with each
definitely
episode.
getting better. But it just knows what it's doing.
Yep.
It has just the right amount of time to do it. The dynamic is great with everybody. The acting is good. The music is good. The story is good. I'm just every time I watch it, I'm so impressed by the time I get done with this show. I
Yeah.
didn't think I was gonna like it in the beginning, and then after the first episode, I was like, you know what, like this is kind of good, and then it just gets better and better.
It gets better and better.
For
sure.
for me, it's gotten better. I didn't like the first few, but then it
Yeah,
got
same.
better after that.
I think the first 4, I was just like, what is this show?
Yeah, but they got. I mean, they've gotten better with. Proctor is a bad guy.
Yep.
Dude,
So
one ti-
evil. That whole
one
scene,
time-
I was
oh
like,
my God.
damn.
I mean, the methods are so sinister too. Like he really lays it out this
he
episode.
says
Oh,
it,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
He literally. So I mean, this is kind of the beginning, so I'll say it now. He has a meeting with Tobias because Lady Eve's gone, and Proctor's like, "Oh, I need someone to fill in and stuff." Proctor literally looks at this board. He's like, "Yeah, we created this drug to control people." I was like, "What? Like you just came out and said like you wanted to
Yeah,
control
there was no
the people?"
BS behind it. He's
yeah,
like,
he
this
literally
is
just
what we
said.
did.
I was like, "Wow, this guy
Yeah.
is evil."
Yeah.
And then,
Oh, yeah. But he plays it evil so well.
Yeah, and basically Proctor tells Tobias that he needs Black Lightning alive because to help their drug or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work because people end up dying. That's why everybody's in stasis, which makes sense. Everybody's on ice.
Right.
Well, people have died though, like while
One.
they were there.
No, I know, but they're
Yeah,
still
yeah, yeah.
preserving the ones that they want really to work. And he's
Right,
like, I need
right.
Black Lightning's blood to make this stuff work. You
Yeah.
know, that's a common premise in a lot of these things. But still, it's an interesting explanation. I was surprised. He came out and just, it was almost, we kind of known this already, but he basically laid it out. Like, listen, these were people in the 70s, they were giving us political problems. We wanted to just shut them up and
Yeah.
control them, or the 80s, whenever it was. I don't know what
Yeah.
it was. And I thought it's a sinister thing, but it's also like, kind of, you just want to take him and be like, screw you.
Right.
And really go after this guy in the worst way because he's really earned it, you know? And
Yeah.
they took this character that we didn't even know him like
The
5
first half.
episodes
Not even
ago?
halfway
Yeah,
through the
yeah.
season, we didn't even
Yeah.
know him.
Yeah,
He's
and now
like-
he's like over Tobias, and he's basically
Oh, yeah,
running
he's-
Tobias
Oh,
at this
yeah.
point.
He is evil
He
too,
is
and
evil.
you know it. And yeah,
But like Tobias sees it and he's like, "F that! I'm gonna rule this whole town." Like,
yeah,
that's
which
not gonna work.
Tobias,
It's not gonna- I mean, yeah,
Maybe it
but-
will, because we know, knowing a little bit more about the Black Lightning comics, I've kind of read up a little bit. Tobias is a big deal.
oh, he's a huge deal.
Right.
So
Super villain.
maybe he will overcome. I was kind of hoping Greg Henry was gonna be around for a little bit longer, but maybe not.
Another thing that is the Khalil storyline. Khalil
So
is
weird.
back.
So weird.
You guys don't like the dreads?
Oh,
you
God.
know, I this is why this show impressed me, because I saw Khalil and I was like, wow, this guy looks funny. But then the actor pulled it off. They made it completely believable after
Yeah.
2 minutes. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I buy Khalil.
Yeah.
You know, because we were joking that Tobias is like, you know, oh yeah, I fixed your back, and now you're like the worst guy possible. And
Right.
I was like, that's kind of dumb. But then when Jefferson
worked.
stops him on the street, that little confrontation they
Yeah.
have, like, Khalil gives him the business, and,
Yeah.
and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
And Khalil
really makes it convincing.
It's not even like Khalil's being like controlled or anything. He's like, that's like actually him saying
like
"Hey,
brainwashed.
none of you guys cared about me, all this," and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
it's
know?
it's also, I think Tobias mentions too, like we bought your loyalty. Like you're walking
Right.
because of us.
Right,
You know,
right.
and either you're grateful for that or you're not. Which he is grateful.
Yeah,
also
and they show
love-
the spinal implant. It's like this metal
I know,
just
yeah.
back thing.
Cyborg.
Like she-
or something.
Cyborg, yeah,
What
half
you think
cyborg.
of
he could have just asked Felicity for the little chip thing too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they could have crossed
Very
worlds.
true.
Cross Earths and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
Felicity."
I was thinking of Felicity and Curtis when I saw Proctor's little layer there, and I was like, oh, they got the
Oh,
same.
the compu-
they got the
Same
same deal
backgrounds,
on
yeah.
bulk HD TVs. Yeah. Measuring barometric pressure. That's very important.
That's
so-
absolutely important.
So I think it's Proctor tells Tobias to go after Black Lightning, and then Tobias is like, "We need you to Khalil." He says, "We need you to go back to high school and just basically fuck shit up." That's basically what he said.
Pretty much.
Yes.
And he's just like, I don't want nothing to do with high school, which I get.
right.
Like, you're
And-
so over it now. It's like
You talking
And
about
basically-
Tobias' confrontation with Khalil?
with Khalil,
yeah.
yeah.
I hate how Tobias cuts his steak. He leaves little dangling pieces.
Oh, did
I
you see that?
know!
Did you see
Did that bother you guys? I was
Oh,
watching
I'm
that-
so glad we all saw it. And it's like rare, too.
I was like, you're like a rich dude. Is like, get some good
Well,
silverware.
he was cutting the steak and like he's like, oh, it's all good, and it's like, oh no, there's like a
There was
bunch
like a
of
piece
fat
dangling
on
when he
this
was
steak.
like,
I know, like a bunch of gristle hanging off. and I was
CW,
like,
get some good steaks for the show. It was fat everywhere. But apparently
That's what he likes.
Tobias likes like rare steak.
Very
I
rare
get
steak.
mine medium.
Oh,
What
that's
about you guys?
bad guy number one. It's got to be a
oh,
bloody
it's gotta
steak.
be bloody.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I get it rare as hell, yeah.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah, I'm
Oh.
extremely sinister when I get my
Too
steak,
much.
yeah.
Really? I'm
Sonic?
medium.
Medium. See, I get medium. We're
Medium, well,
we're
depending
normal
on like
people.
where
Yeah.
I get the steak from.
If you're paying good money for a steak, you want to get it rare.
No.
People, I'm telling you right now.
Don't
That's the
listen to
value. You
Chris.
won't even get the real taste of it unless you get it rare.
Medium. You get a little pink in there.
Overdone.
Medium?
I want it
No.
overcooked.
Overcooked.
So burnt.
Medium's a joke.
Why? I think medium.
I'm
I mean,
joking.
When I was
eat your steak
introduced to
wherever you
medium-
like. Just don't eat it like Tobias. That's all I
Just
care about. If you got gristle hanging off of it, cut that off, please.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so funny. We all noticed that.
I
But,
like the little the confrontation where he's like, "Thank you for saving my life, but why didn't you save my sister?" And then he like
Oh,
choked
yeah,
him up
the-
and
that
threw him
guy-
across the room.
bodyguard.
That guy played it wrong. He should have been like, yeah, you're totally welcome, but it came down to you and your sister. You pay me. You're my priority.
Right.
He could have made a little bit of defense, but yeah.
But then
just thought it
Tobias
was
is reading.
funny.
I think he's reading Moby Dick. I think he's
Was
always
that
reading
what
the
he was
same book.
reading?
Maybe it was Les Mis. I don't know what he's reading. but-
Les Mis. But then the bodyguard falls down, and the cyanide girl.
Oh, I don't like her. She's
I like
so
her
annoying.
a little bit more. Is that her name? Did they say her name?
Cyanide,
Cyanide,
but it's like
yeah.
with an S.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Apparently, yeah.
Okay, because there's a fight later on. She's
With
a
Vanessa.
she's a
That fight was great.
that was brilliant.
That
but
was-
she's a reptile. Her skin underneath her
Okay,
skin.
I was gonna
Yeah, yeah.
ask you guys about
Yeah.
that.
Is she the one? You guys ever seen Wolverine? What's the one where he's in Japan? I lose track
Oh,
of all the
yeah.
names.
Yeah.
There's like a Venom lady that's just like that with green. She's got like green skin
got
and
green
she'll
skin.
poison you.
Yes,
I don't know.
I kept
yes,
thinking
yes,
this
yes.
girl's like a version of that.
Yeah, because when I don't know how she gets her skin torn open or whatever, it was like green, and I was like, wait a minute, she's not human.
I know that got me a
Yeah.
little bit
It's just-
excited, but we're jumping ahead a little bit because we didn't even talk about the episode opens with Tobias and all of his beauty, scolded, and he's got his shirt off, and then like Black Lightning fucked
That's
him
right.
up. Like,
That's right. Yeah.
got
Yeah.
him good, and I feel like that was interesting that they kind of learned his lesson.
Yeah,
They're able to
yeah.
ground
Yeah.
him. I think his outfit like grounds him or something.
Yeah, he has some sort of like stabilizer in there so he
Right,
can't get hurt
right.
again and
Oh,
whatever.
that's right. Yeah.
later on.
the-
He's
Yeah.
kind of ready for it. I
No,
like
but that was a good
little,
scene.
Little touches like that I like.
Yeah.
Because it just kind of shows you that, the show is aware of the little things it has to do to evolve the thinking of the characters.
Yeah.
They
Right.
do kind of the same with Lala later on, where Lala's having like a.
Poor Lala. He just got his like
So
Trunk
that
on.
That
is-
actor.
he's so
That actor
good.
is awesome. I'm actually going to actively try to look at other things this guy's done because he owns
Lala.
the scenes that he's in. He
Yeah,
really
he's
controls
really good.
it. Yeah,
I just felt bad for him because he got stomped on this episode.
I know.
That was confusing. So I had to go back and look at the subtitles, what the person was saying on the phone, because Lala answered
Tobias.
the
That was
phone.
Tobias.
Yeah, but I was trying to figure out what he was saying, and he was saying the devil deals the cards.
Yeah.
And I guess when someone says that, Lala just starts crying. Cause
No,
that,
it was.
no, he's activated.
Yeah.
It's like a hypnotic, like the
right.
Manchurian.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you got like
it's like the
yeah,
Manchurian
controlled.
Candidate, where like.
They say a word, and because
Right.
then Lala meets with Tobias, and Lala's like ready. He's like, I'm gonna
yeah.
like get after you.
Yeah, it's like
and
an activation.
Tobias,
She's like,
like,
the
the
other
devil-
guy's like, Lala, how does it compromise your authority or whatever? And
He's like,
Lala's
hello.
yeah, like
I can't say anything. I was like, oh
because
no.
then he meets with Tobias, like the devil deals the cards. And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
and he's
I
like
know.
crying.
I felt
was
bad
like,
for him
oh
though
my
because
God.
he's such
know,
a
'cause
badass.
Lala
and
comes in
now-
there ready to take care of business. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
devil deals the cards.
Yeah.
It's like what's that Demolition Man? You ever see that? And he's like, don't you have a name in your head? The name Friendly. You guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
Demolition Man.
No.
What? Oh my God! Somebody out there knows Demolition Man, and
Somebody
Wesley
does.
Snipes can't kill the main bad guy because he's basically been like hypnotized and all this. But
Oh wow.
God, Demolition Man! I would give
Sorry.
anything to watch it
Only
the
So-
first
Wesley
time
Snipes
again.
I know is Blade.
Oh man,
Wait.
I love Wesley Snipes. Can't get enough.
So Khalil attacks the school. Basically, the motive is Tobias wants to lure out Black Lightning,
Yep.
and Khalil goes in with these. what are those things on his forearms? It was like, what were they shooting?
I thought it was green light. Cause
Yeah, but it was knocking people out though. Was that like
It was like-
plan?
it was like a dart.
Gets you
It's like
high or
a-
whatever, right? I mean, maybe
Yeah.
he was sedating people, but I thought he was actively trying to infect people with green light to like get more recruits that they could eventually scoop up
Maybe.
later. They didn't follow up
Yeah,
on
but
that.
that didn't
No,
end
it
up
didn't.
happening. I feel like it could have been just like a dart to just like a sleeping dart. You know, Oliver has that with the sleeping
Yeah.
darts. But
Uh-huh.
I feel like that actually, like Khalil is probably like a villain in the comics, and probably
But,
that's like.
but
the
if you see it,
I don't
Khalil
know.
is also like torn because he doesn't want to hurt anybody, but at the same time he has to.
Yeah, he sees Jen. He tries to get back together with Jen, and she's like.
Okay, so can we?
He made his choice.
yeah.
He's had a few moments to really redeem himself, and
Right.
he didn't do it.
So wait, can we talk about that scene with when Jen obviously finds out that Khalil is alive, and she like goes and
The
calls
rooftop
him, or
scene?
yeah. So she like goes to the real house.
Yeah.
And like meets him. So does she give away where she's actually staying?
She doesn't. He does because he looks at her when she's like,
Okay.
"Oh, we've been staying somewhere else." He gives a look like, you
Yeah.
know, what's that about?
But I feel like she said something after that could compromise where she is.
I don't think she
I don't
did, but
think so.
he
Okay.
definitely picked up that like, wait, why is the family in
Yeah.
hiding? Yeah.
Right.
It's just funny because he was waiting on the roof for what he said, an hour.
An hour.
And Jen had to
Yeah.
go in the house and then
And
go
then
up
climb
and
out. Yeah.
We also see Khalil's got super jumping and falling
know.
powers.
Yeah, he
Well,
falls
because he's
right
half
off.
cyborg.
Yeah, it seems to be. He seems to be very much there.
That's
cyborg,
what he
yeah.
is. Yeah.
Did you ever watch the Justice League, Dan? Did you ever watch the movie?
The movie? I still have to catch up on the movie.
Come
yeah.
on, I'm
I
only
watched.
right.
I thought you were talking about the animated series. I
would.
still haven't watched.
I would
Both.
just like to be like a fly on the wall when
While
you watch
watching
Justice League.
Justice League, yeah.
Yeah.
It's whatever, however bad you think it is, it's worse. I promise. Yeah.
I
But
can't-
anyways,
can't wait.
Animated series does it wonders.
They are
Oh, no
looking
doubt.
for.
Yeah.
Oh
Just-
yeah, I've seen a few.
Justice
some
League
of the-
Unlimited. That's my.
Oh yeah.
I've seen the regular one, the Justice League like animated series. I've seen some of those.
Yeah. No, the
but
movie's
they-
its own special animal.
Yeah.
There's
Just
a lot of scenes
a
on
little
it.
thing that they are looking for a new Batman, by the way.
yeah.
I just saw
mean,
Jake
we're not
Gyllenhaal
surprised.
denied he was going to do it. So.
Yeah. It's so
I don't know.
funny.
Michael Cera apparently is in the running. Maybe. He'll do
Okay,
it.
no,
No,
you're
can
not. You're not serious.
As Batman?
Michael Cera is Batman. Yeah.
The
To
guy who played
Hell
in
no.
Superbad?
I'm not serious. Of course not.
Oh my god! Well, you
And
said
we almost
okay.
were like, what?
Well, you said
No,
John
Jesse
Hamm and-
Eisenberg is Lex
Jesse
Luthor. I
Eisen-
mean, I think anything could happen at this point.
Well, you said John Hamm was in the running, and I can't
Yeah.
see John Hamm as Batman.
I could see
I'm
him
sorry.
doing it. I could see him doing it.
I don't know.
Yes and no. I'm so
Any-
used
any
to him
good
in
actor-
That's
Batman.
that's what I'm saying. Like I know him from so many other things that like him being like,
I mean,
where
those,
is he? Like
those
I couldn't-
TurboTax commercials or whatever he's doing now.
I think it is TurboTax. Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, we'll talk about
Forgive
Justice
me,
League
yes.
later. Yeah. So
I mean, I am wearing the shirt today, guys.
That's yeah.
That's right. Target special shirt.
Yep.
Sony's
Target
got a
has
Justice
good
League shirt.
superhero
It's
shirts.
Target.
Target, yeah.
Target exclusive.
Target exclusive.
Green Lantern, yeah.
Yeah, I've got all the major players.
You know, we
That's
had
right.
we had Sexy Lynn this episode too. Actually,
Sexy. Oh,
Oh,
my
that
God.
whole scene.
she makes like early up. She like makes a little booty call. I love that.
Yeah, with the whole like lightning in her. That was
Yeah,
like.
I was
you
like,
just-
what is happening? Like,
They
I was
must
like, sexy time.
They must have locked this family together in a room for like a week because you just buy
Yeah,
the
yeah,
chemistry
yeah.
with everybody,
Right.
especially Jen and Anissa. Anissa's such a fun character. Like she's become like a new Felicity with Gamby now, with like behind a
yeah,
computer.
yeah, I like
But
her.
she just has fun, like, and he's like, "Did you flirt with that guy to get the information?" She's like, "I didn't flirt, Dad." Like, that's exactly how daughters talk with
yeah.
their
Because
dads.
the father
like,
was like, didn't he have a crush on you?
"Yeah,
Like,
I buy
Right.
it. I buy it. I love it.
Even
I really
though
love it."
even though she came out, but she could be bi. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. But I just thought that was it was a good it was a good
it just
dynamic.
works.
Yeah.
Everything just works. But
So
I liked it. That's kind of the other part of the episode. Before we jump into like the school stuff, it's basically, hey, we're a couple. We can get back
Gamby
together.
and,
But she makes the grave mistake that happens
She
in all
does.
X-Men stories
Yep.
that you try to fix the mutant gene. Never try to fix the mutant
Never.
gene.
oh, with
Because
Jen?
people take it personally
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
wait, well, what's to be
With the-
fixed?
yeah.
You know, it's like, well,
Well,
you
it's
know,
like The Gifted. If you watch that,
I do not, but
Okay.
the,
But you'll
it's
see
a
what I'm
similar
talking about if you
idea.
watch it. Yeah,
yes. Okay.
no, but and that whole scene too. Also the scene with Jen and Lynn, and and she's just like, you know what, just do me a favor and just make me a cake. And then that whole scene is like her making a cake, and she's like,
Yeah.
I just want a slice and not
Right.
remember
Stop
anything.
And that's
Frosting,
when I.
Stop frosting. But it's so like a mother-daughter thing to
Yeah.
do that I
With-
like that a lot.
Yeah, with the cake. And right after I saw that scene, that's when I was like, "Oh, guys, this is another cake reference."
That's
Should-
why I
should we
said
get a
I was like,
cake? That's how the
it was a
cake
big
started.
mistake. I was trying to be nice by saying you don't have to make a cake. But
Dude,
maybe we
I-
should have had a cake.
I
If
was
I
willing.
had cake right now, I would be down in it. I would be eating it during the podcast.
And my
Is
cakes
that
are
bad?
awesome.
Like,
Yeah, you guys missed it. Sonic was downing a
I was
chocolate
down-
chocolate chip
scone or
scone.
whatever.
I was.
Yeah.
That was my
Uh,
lunch, guys. I was hungry.
Oh, we could have had cake for lunch.
See, I could have made a cake.
I don't do lunch. Lunch is for wimps.
Oh,
Oh, look at this
excusez-moi.
guy. Rare steak for dinner, no lunch though.
That's Wall Street. You know the Michael Douglas Wall Street.
Yep, yep.
Lunch is for
I don't-
wimps.
Lunch is for wimps.
Anyways, back to the best show
Anyway.
on television. Backlighting.
So we can
Basically,
get to the school scene
the
now.
school scene, which
Yeah,
I thought
go
was
ahead.
really I don't, like a big fight at a school and all that. You know, that's sensitive stuff. It made me think, you know, like with all like how freaked out kids are with school shootings and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You know, it seemed almost like a touchy thing.
Yeah.
But of course, it's a comic book show. You know, I'm
Right.
not complaining about it. It just seemed like a
I mean, I
sensitive
guess,
area to go to.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't like overdo it with guns
They-
and stuff like
right,
that.
they-
so
No, no, no.
that
It could've-
would have been
yeah.
extreme.
Yeah. It could have, yeah, they didn't overdo it, and it was just.
Right.
Khalil wasn't even like. Khalil was just like
Hurting them.
hurting, like smashing doors and like.
I mean, he was
You
drugging
know.
some kids or whatever he was doing to kids. I thought it was funny when Jen was just like, what are you doing? Stop. And this is where you're saying, like, you know, is Khalil really a bad guy? Like,
Yeah.
he's
I
kind of
think he
chosen
is,
2 or
yeah.
3 times now to be a bad guy.
Because
and
he-
after a while,
But he
it's-
has no
he's-
choice. Because he knows that if
He
he,
does,
I
if
think
he goes
he-
against Tobias, he won't be able to walk again.
right. But I mean, so he just started hurting people because he wants to walk. At some point, there's like a moral dilemma
Yeah.
there that has
Yeah.
to be solved.
They'll probably address that.
I think, well,
Yeah.
and also in the school, Jen says like, "Oh, I'm not gonna hurt them and stuff." So I feel like that thing is like a sleeping dart, and so he's just all the
Yeah.
kids were just passed out
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever, and that's
I don't
when
know.
we get.
He hit that one kid, and he's like, "I always hated you" or whatever, and I kind of made me think that maybe this is a drug or something. But
Well, no, and I think he was going to like hit him again, but then got stopped by something.
you know,
or
that's
someone.
right. Right after that scene,
Yeah, he was about to hurt him.
yeah, one of the teachers comes out. He's like, "Hey, Khalil, what are you doing?" And like that guy, that guy, if that guy's a stunt double, he's a big fan of the podcast. So I want to say hey to the stunt double. That guy gets thrown into the trophy case. Like,
Oh, yes.
I don't know
Oh
if
my
anybody remembers that.
God.
That was an extremely well done stunt.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you see him actually hit the case
Hit
with
it,
he's
yeah.
upside down. This show is such a high quality. It's
Yeah.
really impressive, and that was a great stunt.
That was a great. Yeah, that was a great stunt.
I had to mention it
totally
'cause this
forgot
guy's a
about
good
that
friend
one.
of mine.
Good friend, yeah.
Love him. He's a
Stunt
great guy.
double.
Great guy.
Kudos to you.
So that's when all the fighting starts with Cyanide and Anissa are fighting.
that scene
and-
was great.
Awesome
That was
fight.
great.
Oh,
I
awesome.
also thought, I guess with the whole reptile thing, it's fine, understandable now. But I thought, like, I was like, Anissa outmatches her easily, right? But
Although
then-
she did have a gun at school.
She
So that-
did. I mean, I'm
she
not.
did.
I'm not even complaining about it. I just thought it was an
No,
interesting.
but I was just
dynamic,
remembered
yeah.
she did have one.
I keep saying dynamic. No matter what we're talking about, I call it dynamic.
Dynamic.
So they're fighting. I guess reptilian. She probably might have some powers, but when I was thinking like, oh, she's just a human, and I was like, oh, Anissa can easily beat her up, but.
It's a
That's-
great point because when they have that fight, you can tell she slowly. I think she thinks that she can just like outfight her,
Yeah.
you know, just through moves. But yeah, Nissa starts kicking her ass, and you can tell she's like I don't know if I'm up for this. Like
Yeah.
she might be a
Yeah.
little out of my league. And then finally, when she lets her breath go, she's able to.
And that's what
hey,
happens.
that's part of the.
She-
And she's
Right.
She's smart.
And
she
I'm
knows how to
glad
handle it. yeah.
that something is there and that she's not like unstoppable. Basically, when she
Yeah.
holds her breath, she's indestructible. But then the Cyanide sees her go, and then he's like, "Oh, I got him!"
It is interesting
And,
because you can't always be holding your breath. I mean, you
Right.
know, she
I mean,
had to-
that's the
It's
that's
an
the
interesting
thing.
little.
Yeah. And I don't.
Oh
know.
my god! I almost said dynamic again. But basically,
It
it's an
is an
interesting,
interesting
it's an
dynamic.
interesting flip to that power
Yeah.
because you know she
Yeah.
is vulnerable.
No, she
part of
is.
the
You
time.
gotta have vulnerabilities, or else it's just you're
Waiting-
just taking out everyone. You know.
Waiting
Um,
to exhale. Another great movie. But anyways, so we have that fight scene, and that's a pretty brutal fight scene. But basically, I mean, Anissa is going to win that.
Right.
Which she
I mean,
does.
obviously,
Yeah.
it was good that it showed Anissa can be vulnerable, but obviously you're rooting for Anissa because Anissa's a great hero, great character, and I don't know what Cyanide.
I'm trying
Cut
to
herself?
find out like what her
What-
power
what's-
is. but keep going.
I was saying,
I'm sorry?
cyanide.
No.
I don't know what she cuts herself on, but she cuts herself on something and it's green.
Oh
and,
yeah.
So she's a reptile.
I mean, it looked very reptilian to me. I don't know
Yeah.
what it was.
Trying to figure it out.
Maybe it was just she's
Well,
just
and
got
you
some
can tell.
mutant power.
I thought this was, and now I guess this explains a little more. She has some like makeup in between her eyes. I feel like
Yeah,
that's.
she has like a white tear or like a white line.
I feel like
comes
that
down.
might be
Oh,
part
yeah.
of the whole reptilian thing. Because now that we talked about it, I'm like, oh, maybe that's.
I had that Wolverine character from Wolverine Origins or whatever in my mind at the time, but yeah, that was interesting. And then we get the real reason why why I think he's screwed. He basically kills Jefferson. I mean, he comes at him and
I
punches
know.
him
Oh
right
my
in the chest.
God.
Jumps up and boom. I was
So
like,
much
oh my
force.
God.
Which was great to see. That
was
whole
great.
fight with Tobias and Jefferson.
Yes,
I mean, it's
oh.
nice to know that either with electricity or with hand-to-hand, Tobias is going to get fucked up.
Right.
It's just,
Oh,
well,
yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
because what happens is Black Lightning tries to do what he did to Tobias 4 episodes ago and just shock him.
Even when Gamby's saying like, "Don't do
Yeah.
it" in his ear.
And
I know.
Tobias has some electricity proof thing on. Yeah, and Gamby's like, hand-to-hand combat doesn't make sense.
it's
And
a
then
tactical disadvantage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Jefferson's like, I don't care.
He's
And then,
like, yeah,
so it's
whatever.
personal, obviously. And then that was a great fight scene. And then Khalil
was.
just runs
that
in. And,
that whole thing though, and then when he's actually dead, and then
Yeah, I was
Jen
like, oh,
comes.
shit.
Oh my God!
I
that-
was
He's dead for a
actually-
long. I had time to go make a ham sandwich the time he was dead. He was dead for a long
I
time.
He was.
to
was.
be honest, I was kind of thinking that when he got shut down or whatever, the whole dampening thing, I kind of was thinking, I was like,
The
well,
show's gonna
Jen-
end in that scene.
No, I was saying, I was like, Jen's the generator, so he's
Yeah.
gonna have
Oh,
to.
Yeah,
yeah, you can
no,
see
we
that
knew
coming, yeah.
we knew she was gonna step in somehow,
yeah.
but like the emotions on both the girls
Right.
when that was
Oh,
happening.
also when Jen was outside the door when
Yeah,
this
she,
was
like-
funny, she was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And
No, but
That
you
was cool.
nailed it. The emotion, like
spot on.
they make it look easy.
I
How
know.
how well
Yeah.
done this is done.
Because
I keep
Jen
blowing
is
smoke up
just-
everybody's
Jen
ass
wa-
with this show, but
Jen
they're doing
didn't
such a
even
good job.
do it on. She didn't even do it on purpose the first time. She's like, Dad, and like the motion it went, "Zzz," and then
Yeah.
Gammy's like, what did you do? Do it again, and then
It was
basically
crazy.
gets
Well,
him
actually,
again.
the actress who plays Jen was part of Disney.
I was actually gonna say that. I thought
Oh,
you guys
really?
would make fun of me, but yeah, she was on Disney.
She was on Disney
What
Channel, and
Disney
then she was in
Channel?
the movie Descendants,
Oh,
um,
I didn't know that. I knew she was on Disney.
which is
Channel.
like a Disney thing about like
Was she
the children.
Ursula's daughter?
Yes, yes.
Oh my God!
Wow, look
you
at
know,
that.
I watched 20 minutes of The Descendants too. It's one of the worst things I've ever watched. But I didn't realize that was her.
That was her. Yeah.
I remember because my little cousin.
for her.
Would
All
watch,
right, she just does a good job.
She was on a show on Disney Channel. My little cousin used to watch it, and I was
That's-
gonna say that, but I thought you guys would be like,
You
"Oh,
know,
No,
it
because
just
I
blew my
noticed it
mind.
and I was like, wait, she's been on the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
not ashamed to say that I watched
No,
the
yeah,
Disney
I mean-
Channel.
you realize that Dan is like, oh yeah, that's my Disney girl. Yeah.
Dan's on the
That's
same
why
page
it's
as
me.
I
me.
know, yeah.
It's all
The
good.
Descendants got a lot of. I mean, it's a fun musical. I just remember thinking it was
Well,
looked weird.
the main character from Descendants is now in Agents of Shield.
Oh wow, I didn't know
The
that.
girl with the
didn't know
blonde
that.
hair,
oh
Dove
my
Cameron.
God,
That's
you're
her.
blowing my mind here. That's right. That's right. The girl with the
Oh,
lips.
man.
She's got gigantic
She
like
got,
lips.
And then she's like the new destroyer of worlds. Yeah, that's her.
Oh my
Did
God.
you,
Dove Cameron. Dove Cameron's her name.
Dove Cameron.
Dove. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. What else do you guys know?
What else can I spit out at
What
you?
else is
Did you hear if Agents is getting canceled or not? I haven't.
yeah, I
I
haven't
didn't
heard
check
it.
up
I've
on
actually read that it's likely to be renewed.
Oh wow, it's
Yes.
gonna get renewed.
I have no
Good.
idea, but we'll see.
yeah.
But anyway, those were the references: Disney and Agents of
Oh, I
Shield.
gotta think of
Maybe
more
it's just
stuff.
me, but that really blew my mind. Because I really haven't seen a lot of the movie, but I did see Dove Cameron, and I did see the Ursula. That's the part I saw, like Ursula was singing a song or whatever.
The poor unfortunate soul, whatever it was. Yeah.
Yes, whatever.
Oh.
But anyway, going back to the emotion of the two sisters over
Yes,
the father, that was just great
Yeah.
acting.
And then we end up in Gamby's got a safe cabin
Yep.
somewhere in the
They've
woods,
got, they've got a lot of real estate
I
going on
was-
in this.
I
They
was
do.
confused. I was like,
and
wait.
rental like storage units that are
Yeah.
still being
Well, because
paid
I
for 30 years.
I originally thought that was like the house they were staying in, and Gamby just
Happened
got
to have,
all these
no.
Well,
computers there
Gamby's
and-
got to have a place to unwind at the end of the week. You know, a lot of
So
stuff
they-
going on.
Yeah, they go back to this
I-
cabin. And
It was just funny because in my head I was thinking, oh, he's gonna put up wards, like the security wards. But here I am thinking like magical, like spiritual wards, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, there we go. It's
That'd
gonna
be
be a
funny.
crossover.
Yeah, But it was funny. He's like, he tells Jen to like get rid of all the cell phones. She gives him this look like,
Yeah.
fuck you.
Yeah, right? And
I'm not
that's
getting
what,
rid of these. Yeah.
Yeah, no Wi-Fi, no nothing.
They had to destroy the cell phones because the ASA would have tracked them there.
Right,
and
right.
then-
So they're pretty much on their complete own.
I mean, I think they're underground at this point
Yeah.
because they've realized the game isn't over. They don't know that Jefferson Pierce is Black Lightning. I think they've kind of moved beyond that, but. The little conversation with Khalil, I feel like he's gonna drop like, oh yeah, but
He's
like
gonna
Jen's
know.
family's in hiding. Something's gonna happen with that. And
yeah,
Tobias,
I think they're gonna figure out who the Black Lightning and the family is
Yeah.
because now they're off the grid. So
Yeah.
Jefferson can't go back to school because it's destroyed, but you need the principal still there to
Yeah.
fix things.
Yeah.
He won't be there.
When they went back in the cabin, Gamby was looking some stuff up. What was he looking up again? Just like where Proctor is, or
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Sorry,
I guess
because it wasn't an important scene.
I think you're right. He did mention something about being able to track Proctor.
Yeah.
Really at the end, I don't remember exactly what it was, but there's one episode left. We'll get to it.
Yeah, season finale is.
And it basically
next
ends with
Tuesday.
Tobias saying,
that he's gonna
we're
go
take out
after-
He's gonna
Proctor.
take over the world.
I hope that doesn't work out.
I hope.
He doesn't have to die.
What
but
could
maybe
happen is that
Did we see a preview for the next? Did you watch the preview for the
it was a
next one?
preview, but because it's the finale, they just kind of
They
put a
crumbed
bunch
out,
of
everything in
random
there.
stuff, like I feel like the Black Lightning's gonna take down Proctor, and what could happen is like, oh, now that Proctor's gone, Tobias is gonna take and that'll be season 2, which I kind of
I feel like that's
don't.
likely.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want that, but
I want Lala back.
I
think
kind of just want to.
Lala is back. I feel like
No, but like
villain.
villain Lala,
Yeah.
The
not,
main- the main
not the
guy,
one
yeah.
that's controlled.
I mean, if we're talking about next season, I would kind of want like a villain we haven't seen yet.
I honestly have no idea for predictions for next season for
no.
Black Lightning.
Well, do we have any predictions for the finale? That's the big one. Tuesday.
I don't know, really.
I honestly, I'm kind of trying not to even to think about it. I
Yeah.
want to be surprised. I never watched the preview and all that, so all
No,
this stuff is a big surprise.
Yeah,
when
I want to
see
be
it.
surprised too.
Yeah, yeah.
But
yeah,
I
I
think
think
that
that's
sums
Black
up
Lightning.
Black Lightning.
Great show.
Yes, great show.
Now.
have failed this city.
Which
Which
he finally
he
said.
said it.
Oh my god, I was so happy.
You know-
even though it was not really him, but
I put on this episode and I saw the title was Fundamentals, and I was like back to the fundamentals. And I was like,
Oh.
yes.
I was like, yeah, that'd be nice, but Arrow doesn't do
It's
that.
so
Oh,
funny.
but it did.
It's
And
so
then-
but
funny
it did.
Chris texted us and was like,
it was like
I
11,
can't do
11,
this.
10.
yeah.
I can't do this, Arrow. I was like, dude, I actually thought it got better. And then I was like, wait a minute, I should let him know. I was like, after the first
After
10
the
minutes,
first 10
it's
minutes,
actually
it
really
gets
good.
That's
and
what
then,
it
and then
was.
that's when you were like, oh wait, it got
I
better.
watched the first 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and
and
it's Diggle coming
Diggle
back.
shows up like,
and-
yeah, this doesn't change anything, Hoss, and I was like, fuck you. And then
No, because then you saw the part with the science project and it getting destroyed, and you were like, guys, I
saw
can't take
William,
this anymore.
I saw the episode taking a completely different path. I never see the preview, so I didn't know what was happening.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had no
yeah.
idea that Prometheus was going to show up.
Well, I didn't either. He
I
wasn't
didn't
in the
either.
preview.
Oh, you didn't?
He
Okay,
wasn't,
okay.
yeah.
No,
I
no,
didn't
no.
know that. But basically, it ended. The part where I texted you guys was Felicity's like, "We need to take a break," and I was like,
Yeah.
Here we go.
"I can't do it." I
But
really,
then
I,
you,
kinda
I
honestly
know,
thought-
but then you find out it's not her. I
and
was
then,
like,
well,
oh, thank
then
God.
like 5 minutes later, Adrian Chase shows up, and I was like,
Dude,
What's this?"
I was so excited. First of all, I love Adrian Chase, and I love the actor.
I think every fan of the show loves
Oh,
Adrian Chase.
he was a great villain. In
great
season
villain. I
5.
love
mean,
Prometheus. And
when he-
I got really excited when he was like, "Oh, you never found my body, so how do you know if I'm actually dead?" And I was like, "Oh,
So
snap.
okay, can I tell you when that happened?
because I saw your head get
maybe-
blown
I got
off.
so
yeah.
excited though.
Maybe I'm stupid, but I honestly, I was like, there's been crazier things with CW shows. So I was like, could this actually be him? Like,
No, so when he actually said that whole part, I was like, Oliver must be tripping on something. And then
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
he's
That's what I thought
probably
too.
on
Right,
Vertigo because
right.
this has happened to him before.
yes.
So then when he shows up, that whole fight scene, and when he shows up
Yeah.
again, I was like, oh, yep, he's on
Right,
Vertigo.
yeah.
Well, okay, so before we get into the Vertigo thing, I do have to say about William's science project,
I
I felt really bad. I'm not gonna.
I did too.
I know
Are
Chris
you
is about to
kidding me?
shit on him. I actually
You really felt bad.
I felt, dude, he was just
Poor
explaining
kid.
how hard he worked on it. He wants to beat this girl in the
hot
science
dog
fair
for the hot dog girl.
'cause
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Solar powered
This
hot
girl-
dog. That's
this-
much more impressive than cloned cabbage.
because this girl is really smart, and he wanted to win the science fair, and he didn't want her to win the science fair, and then Oliver just breaks it, and I'm like, oh no,
Guys, if you
William.
can see Chris's face, right?
I don't know why you get so. I was literally like, oh man, like that just happened, and then
You're joking.
no, dude,
No.
like, I legitimately
Come
felt
on.
that. Dude.
William-
All right, put yourself in that. This girl always wins the science fair. You want to win it for once, and then Oliver comes in.
First of all, William is. How old do you think William is? 13,
well,
14?
we can-
13
we
going
could-
on 7. Yeah.
We could do the math. I think he has the kid.
I have no. He's older than 13.
4
I think.
years.
Yeah, maybe he's
to-
14.
older than 10. I'll say that.
Well, yeah.
Old enough to know better.
I don't know how do you not feel bad?
I don't know. Also, the whole like, I'm actually. I don't want to jump ahead, but like the whole mayor thing,
God.
I'm actually relieved.
Oh my God, that's right, Chris.
I am
I couldn't
so
believe
relieved.
when we talked about this a while ago, but when Oliver became mayor last season, whatever, and I was like, seriously, like, how are you going
Right.
to do all that?
Yeah,
Like, the mayor
yeah.
has to be in public constantly.
Yeah. What's funny
I'm
is
with you 100%.
Yeah.
What's
I'm
funny
good
is-
riddance.
I'm so relieved.
before, I think who's he talking to? Lance. Oh yeah, he's talking to Lance, and he's like, if somehow I get through this impeachment, I will be the mayor to the best of my ability. Next second, and the
Yeah.
mayor is impeached,
I
and I
know,
was like,
yeah.
wow, that was
I
great.
was like, woo!
That is nice.
And
It's just
now,
unnecessary.
No, because
it's-
the whole it was just so good because
it was lingering
Ah.
for the whole season. Is he the Arrow? Is he not?
the whole
Is he
season.
Arrow?
But I think
Like,
the best part of the entire, well, not the best part, but one part where I like paused it and I like jumped up and I was like, yeah, was when he put on his old costume.
the old costume.
That was
The
nice to
old-
see.
And you know what's funny?
Oh, because the opening scene, I was
opening
like, wait, he
scene.
doesn't have his
Yeah.
like normal thing, and I was like, wait a minute, that's
yes,
the old costume.
Yes, the opening scene. I
You
was
could
like,
see
he doesn't
him-
have the mask. I
Yes,
was like,
I
what's
love
going
it.
on?
I love
You
it.
could see him walking down, and honestly, if I saw him, I'd be like, "Oh, Mr. Mayor, hello." Like, he looks.
You must have hated.
There is no way.
You must have hated the first season because he had nothing. He just had the hood.
No kidding.
And like,
well, and just like green makeup.
yeah,
right,
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit of smudge
yeah.
there, yeah,
Yeah.
a
Right,
little like
right.
smoky eye shadow.
But like the hood's up enough that you can see
Yeah,
the shadow
come
and you
on.
can't
I'm
really
not
see
kidding.
his full face.
My first ever hearing of the show, first encounter with it was my wife was in, I think, El Salvador, and she's like, I only get like 2 English stations, and one of them's this guy with the hood who's jumping around, but it's ridiculous because everybody can tell that he's the same guy. And I swear, it's the first thing I ever learned about the
Oh,
show.
man.
And I was like, what show is it? I'm going to try to see if I can find it. And I found it, and I was like, oh, this is like the Green Arrow. And I was like, oh my God, like Eloisa, my wife, like this is I know this
man.
character.
It's like
This
an
character's
icon.
awesome. She's like, this looks really dumb. And I'm like, no,
This
Green
looks really
Arrow's
dumb.
awesome.
And then you watched it.
And
you
then I
were
watched it
like,
and I
this
loved
is-
it. Yeah, like that's back when the show was
Back
what
season one,
this
too.
episode was.
Yeah, what
yeah.
this episode was.
So I mean, little backstory. So Felicity calls Diggle, and that scene was like
It
a
was
little
so dumb. It was
a little
dumb.
forced. It was like he came back. He's like nothing.
Well, that was
happened.
her
I got a-
point.
I got a job
Got
with
my
Argus,
hopes up.
and then that was
It
it.
did.
I really thought
know.
Diggle was going to come
I know.
show up and be like, hey, like I'm here to help out. I'm working with Argus,
Right.
but in the meantime, whatever we need to do to take care of
Yeah.
this guy.
So
No.
can
Instead,
I-
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm
No, I
going to take
know.
my
He's
ball
like,
and go
no,
home. And
I'm going to Argus, guys. I got a full-time job there.
yeah.
Yeah. Can I just also point out that there was no Dinah, there was no Curtis, there was no, well, I mean, like a guest appearance of Haas, but you couldn't see his face.
Haas
Oh,
did not
guess-
appear. I think Haas is in the Great Haas in the Sky. wherever
I
he is,
think
yeah.
that was him. You know what's funny? I knew you were gonna say this. I was like, he had a mask on. Let me see if that actually was him. I was like, that's him. That's his voice.
It's his voice.
It's his voice.
Yeah.
Yes. I feel like
You don't think that was him?
No, I feel like he's at his home wherever he lives and went to
Hossville
a studio like this and recorded. Hey,
Oh,
Haas, Haas,
probably.
Haas, say Haas 12 times, and then thank you for coming in.
Well, they
Yeah.
all make a guest appearance in
Right.
when
Terrific.
No, I know.
Curtis
but
and all them.
No, I get that part,
Right.
but
No,
like,
I know what you mean. They weren't really
but they
in the
weren't
episode.
really
Oh,
in the
no, yeah,
episode,
yeah.
which
Um,
I loved.
And so
I absolutely love that.
basically this whole thing starts with a councilman seeing Oliver
The dirty
doing
councilman.
a handshake and gets vertigo on him, and apparently you're high right away.
Yeah, that was funny because he's like, "Oh, I've been drugged." Wait a second, that guy shook my hand. I was like, "How many things have you touched on your way
Yeah.
here?" Like, anybody could have
Haven't
done
you
it.
shaken
But then
someone
all
else's
the,
hand? Like-
also, it's like vertigo. You have to like physically inject in yourself. So did
Yeah,
he like
that's
trick
right.
him while he was, giving
they
him a
made it
handshake?
seem like it was the
Very
handshake
sinister. They
and-
found a way
They
to
found a
change
way to do it.
Vertigo's delivery
I don't
system.
know.
Yeah.
Well, Diaz. He's Do we know Diaz? I don't know.
You know,
I was very happy though with this episode. Back to the roots. Back
It was-
to super villains coming back, and Adrian Chase again.
Dude,
I love him.
When Chase showed up, I was like, "Oh shit!"
I got so
Something's
excited,
happening.
and he's just there throughout the entire episode, and
It
I was just
cra-
like,
and it's,
oh,
it was crazy because it was like this psychological like episode where
Yeah.
Oliver's like always looking there. He's like, "What is real?" It got to a point where I was like, "I don't." When Oliver was like, "I don't know if you're real," I was like, "I don't either,"
Yeah.
because this has gone
Yeah.
back so many times. It
I-
turns out the
yeah.
whole time he was passed out in the arrow cave.
I know, poor Oliver.
He wakes up on the floor.
He
but-
wakes
Yeah.
up and he's just like, oh shit, did
Because
this happen?
I'm not just saying this, but like it had little glimpses of like the Scarecrow because Vertigo was
I
injected.
thought of that.
Did you
Well,
think? Okay,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
thought
Because-
of Arkham Asylum, and there's one part where like you become
Right.
you become the Joker, and Batman's
Right.
the insane one, and I was like,
Right.
oh, it's like a little flip.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
and like it reminded me of the Scarecrow because like he's drugged and then he goes into this. When Diaz shows up, I was like, oh, that's actually him, and then he stabs him. I was like, does that feel real? And he says, does that feel real? And I was like, oh shit! And then it was a vision, and I was like, oh my god, because like the Scarecrow like drugs you, and then
But then
he's
it-
like
but
there.
that's
That's kind of when I knew it wasn't real.
Yeah, but
I
then
mean, I
it
knew that
also has
before a
a
little
twist
bit,
at
yeah.
the very end because Diaz has the same exact line
Yes.
of what he said in
Yes.
while Oliver was
That-
on Vertigo.
That is why I was
missed
like,
that.
this
What'd
is
he say?
Okay.
Well, because he's like, I don't want Oliver. He when he's in the Vertigo, whatever you want to call it, he's like,
When he
if
stabs
you-
him, right
yeah,
before he stabs
he's like,
him.
I'm not gonna kill you because you'd be a martyr and stuff like that. But then
Oh.
later in the episode, it's real.
Hasn't he said that before?
Not to
he's
that,
mentioned
not to that extent.
Not to
Okay.
that extent, because then later in the episode, it's like not a hallucination; it's him, and he says
Right.
the exact same. I was like,
He
that's
says
when I
the
was like,
same
this
exact
is like
thing, and I was just
Scarecrow-
like,
'cause
oh
he's like,
crap.
he's like entering
Yeah,
his mind or something. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I don't
but,
know.
I thought it had been mentioned before, but I mean, it's a nice little explanation of why Oliver gets to
Yeah.
live. Because he's like, oh, if we destroy him as a person, then he'll be
Right.
And I'm very happy that like he admitted to himself like he needs to go back to his roots. And not fire everyone like he said to Felicity or
Felicity, yeah.
Overwatch, but he's like, I just need to do this on my own because that's where I started.
I don't know if that's gonna last.
I mean, I think Felicity is gonna still help out, but I think it's just gonna be him trying to
Yeah.
figure out himself, try to save the city. He's no longer mayor,
Uh-huh.
so that's
Yeah,
something
I
that's
mean,
not.
well, because when he's talking to his old self. I mean, this is when you bring up the old suit. And,
Yeah, oh, I love.
I
it.
mean, that old Oliver. It's like he brought back the crazy dark Oliver from season 1. He's like, you lost track of the
No,
mission.
he was
and I was
Yeah.
like, oh
he was
my
out of his
goodness.
mind. I mean,
yeah.
He was
hits,
going crazy.
He hits Lance. Oh
my God,
love to
he hits
see Lance
Lance.
get hit. I like Lance a lot. It's just he's a little incessant sometimes.
Oh, do you get what you just did, Lance? A lot.
Lance.
Uh-huh.
I was gonna say something.
Sorry.
That was not
I
intentional.
jumped to
Lance
it.
a lot.
But in the same way that Beebo showed up at the end of Legends and it was like a fan service, I was really surprised with this episode. I was like, I thought these were legends, or I thought these were lessons that the Arrow writers purposely just didn't want to learn. But
Yeah.
it kind of showed that, wait, we get the complaints that even a lot of fans have
Yeah.
about the show and how good it used to be. And it was like, oh, they actually remember and they're kind
Remember,
of
and they're
telling
bringing
us,
it-
like,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
maybe they're actually trying to do it. I wish this was like the second episode of the
I
season.
know.
We weren't at
Yeah,
episode
well,
18.
But I do like the
But it
fact that
really gave me some hope.
yeah, it
Big
gave me
time.
hope too because
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that that's the direction they're going to go into
Yeah,
now.
I loved that, and I loved that William got second place. I like that a lot.
Second play, you like
Because
that?
he's just like he's a silver medal kind of guy. He's
But,
not,
like,
he's not gold.
I know you hate William, but
Very much, very much.
it was very cute how he was like eavesdropping on Felicity's conversation, then passes her the sneakers.
I did like the sneaker.
Oh my God.
No, that was nice. That
It was
nice.
cute.
See,
Come
I got
on.
annoyed with that.
No, like
No.
William as a butler, like doing like butler stuff. I love. Like he should be like a little sidekick
Oh,
for that.
well,
But
he kind of is.
sidekick.
fetching shoes,
Gonna happen.
giving people towels, basically being custodian.
Next
Oh,
season,
stop.
next
100%
season, it's
love
gonna
that.
be just Oliver and Felicity, and then William's gonna be like, "I want to fight, Dad." Bam, sidekick.
No, I don't think so.
I'm telling you.
I hope not. I hope
When
not.
That would
when
not
that
surprise
kid
me.
was
That would not
born,
surprise
I
me.
was like, if this goes on long enough, he's a sidekick.
I have
think
to. I
he's
have
born
to.
to be a pain in my ass on the show.
Oh, jeez.
I feel like that's gonna happen.
I do have to point out, Dan, that you're wearing Oliver Queen.
I am.
You're wearing the old suit.
This is season 1, yeah.
That
I
is
got
season
this,
1.
I got this like after season 1, season 2, so yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wore it because I was like, this episode was like, it was actually like,
it was very, very
to
well.
me, it was that
It was
dark,
great.
crazy thing that, I mean, that's why season 1 was so good because it was so dark and,
Yeah.
you know. And
I'm still not liking the whole Diaz and Black Siren thing
Oh, this
going
one, I mean,
on.
this
I don't-
season to me is too far
Well,
gone to
this
be-
whole season is
It's
so
like-
far gone anyway. But
Like this was a good episode, but this
that whole
season's too
relationship,
far
I'm just
bad.
like, is she serious or is she not serious? I can't like tell if she's like tricking him or not.
That's tough. I thought it was pretty bold for him to be sitting in the police captain's office, but basically he runs that
He
place
runs
at
the
this
place
point,
now. Yeah.
which is a
Yeah.
little insane. But I've always been willing to like Dragon because I like the actor a lot, and I thought he was really good this episode. I was actually buying a lot
Yeah.
of it.
A lot
This
of it, yeah.
episode, on the whole, after the first 10 minutes, I was really into it.
Right.
And Felicity saying she needs space, that was not real.
No,
Right.
that was fake.
Yeah, I was confused.
So
Yeah.
she
Okay,
wasn't
so
really
that-
upset when
He
Oliver
was already
like,
on Vertigo, so yeah, that
so
whole
he
part.
knocks over William's thing, and then
That happened.
That happened.
That happened, but
And
that's
her- well,
not.
no.
Hold on, but that's not a reason for Felicity to say you got to move out.
Correct.
Because she tells
Well, I thought-
Lance later, I would never ask him to move out or something like
Yeah.
that. Okay, all right, good.
So her
he
saying
was
get
he was
out didn't
hallucinating. No,
Excuse me?
no, the whole part where she's like "get out"
Okay.
was real, but the other part where she comes into the bunker
Says,
and
"I
says
need
like
space."
"I need space from you,"
Okay.
that was all him on Vertigo.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Because when that was going on, and she's like, I just can't be with someone who would do that, and I was like,
No,
I mean, somebody that has kids knows you're gonna eventually lose your temper
I
occasionally.
was a
like-
little well.
Get
the
ready,
whole
Chris.
thing with lose,
Can't wait.
The whole thing with lose your temper. It was kind of throwing me off. I was like, he just like yelled like nothing.
he was already on Vertigo
bad
then.
happened.
Nobody
Yeah.
yelled
Like-
at William.
He left.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I know,
Like,
but William.
but
William's very
But-
sensitive. He can't handle that.
Well, 'cause
So I
that's
think
what I'm saying,
he
like-
went into his shell after that.
like getting yelled
Besides his
at.
buttle
it's like-
service.
I have a
Yeah.
hatred.
That's why, like, when they were
William.
saying it, I guess now because it was the Vertigo, but like when they were saying it was like, oh, you went off and like your temper, I was like, all he said was maybe we'll be late, really
Yeah,
loud.
then we'll be late.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
that was it.
And William was like, "Ah."
he didn't purposely draw up the signs for
no,
off.
no, of course not. But he was like
Poor
pissed
William.
off.
No,
and-
but that makes sense because I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
Felicity wasn't
Okay,
real
yeah.
there,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like,
no,
that's
because
not a deal breaker.
No, because
Yeah.
then later she was like, "We're like glue, baby." And I was
Yeah,
just
she
like,
said baby.
We're
I
like
was
glue,
like,
baby.
I was like, what?
like
what
glue,
was,
baby.
What,
Right on.
what was that?
That's another fan service right
But
there.
then
It's like,
again, I
you want me to
still-
go somewhere? I'm like glue,
No.
baby.
I still got pissed because they still haven't kissed. You're a freaking
think,
married
you think of so many
couple.
things that don't even cross my mind.
I know. I
Yeah, so-
don't.
Because
I
that's
didn't-
what I think about.
Well, I thought they had a little more
No, that
relationship
whole-
stuff because they were like,
that whole
talking,
scene where
arguing.
she's saying like we're like glue, blah blah blah. I thought he was gonna be like her hand is on his heart, and
That's right, and he realizes, yeah.
that it's her. I thought he would like embrace her and kiss her, like even like a split second. But no, he was like, all right, like come with me.
Well, they had to
You know what I mean?
escape.
Caveman, yeah.
They had
No,
to like
but-
escape.
Come with,
and,
come with Arrow.
But I mean, do you agree with me that there was no like physical chemistry like going on, like emotionally, obviously yes, but like
I feel like
Not even a
I do
smooch.
agree. We haven't seen it in a while. I actually,
Yeah.
I'm in the minority. I don't buy their chemistry a lot, so it doesn't
Oh,
make
see,
a
I
big
do.
difference to me. But
I think we didn't notice it, but I think it's good that you did because we had that
I notice all the like weird
good dynamic.
details.
It's
Yeah.
good dynamic to the podcast.
But for all the
Interesting.
all the like shippers out there for
Shippers,
Felicity
yeah.
and Oliver, I feel like there's no chemistry
that's
right
a good
now.
point. I mean, you now that you do say it, I have kind of noticed it. And for all the times I've shit on the show for a lot of problems that I think it hasn't had those problems for a little bit. I've had problems with Felicity for a while. Like, she hasn't been a problem in a long
love
time,
William.
actually.
Yeah.
You love William.
I mean, even the Williams. I mean, I joke about William. I don't like William, but he's not in the show a lot, so I'm not gonna
Right.
get crazy about it. If this show is actually learning its lesson, and this episode is an example of that, then I'm a little excited. But I'm
Yeah.
not gonna get my hopes up because
This season,
I've seen
is,
it. I saw Adrian Chase last season, and look what they did with this season. I mean,
Yeah.
they took ideas that are interesting and just turned them into the least
yeah.
compelling
the
angle.
whole like the main villain like Legion thing being the villain for the first 15 episodes and then it changed that like
That
annoyed
it
the
just
crap
annoyed
out of me.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
after Prometheus like showed up in the lair, I was like, I kind of want to rewatch season
The season
5
5.
because I was just
Yeah.
like, I kind of miss
That would be
him.
depressing,
Like the
I
whole
think.
psychological
I
thing.
know.
'cause
It's a great season.
It is a great
He gets
season.
brought to Laurel, like the actual. Obviously, it's a vision,
The
but it's
actual Laurel. Oh, that was so
in the
cute.
bed, and
It
I was like,
was.
oh
Back
my
in the
God,
mansion, too.
like,
I
yeah.
was hoping-
I thought the mother was gonna come
I know.
out.
I was waiting for her to pop up. Yeah.
or Theo or someone like.
I missed I loved Theo,
I
man. He was
know.
great. A great guy. I loved that. Like that actor a lot. And then we
really-
get William. We got Tuck in William. You know, William's going to
Yeah,
bed.
he was trying to go to bed. He couldn't.
He's like,
he
I'll
couldn't
never
fall-
leave you. Always be here
couldn't
for you.
fall
And he's like,
asleep.
great. I'm so glad.
No, but
tucks him
a
in.
lot of good, not flashbacks, but a lot of good memories that Oliver came to realize that this is the basics of his roots.
Yeah, it was a tour of his misery, and
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah.
what Prometheus was telling him. He's like, everything you touch turns to
It's true.
Yeah, and it was-
dies.
It was so true.
It was interesting to have Prometheus there because it's really showing like Vertigo brings out like the things you most fear.
Well,
and,
it's like
were
saying like
afraid of
when you're
and
drunk, the truth comes out when you're drunk.
the truth.
That's kind of like what it is
Vino
with
Veritas,
Vertigo.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just thought it was interesting because I was like, because Oliver, I mean, yeah, you could say the other villains, but Oliver got really scared definitely with Chase, and I feel like
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
for
like
sure.
him seeing him when he said, "Oh, I'm not afraid of you." I was like, "You were, you definitely were
But
a little
also,
afraid."
yeah, I think
I would actually
also
disagree with that. I think he was really afraid of himself. I think he's
That's
more
what I was just gonna
afraid of
say.
what Prometheus was showing him, that
Right.
he
Showing
has
him.
actually become. Towards the end, he's like, there was never when Green Arrow kind of faces up with Green Arrow himself.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's never supposed to be a Felicity Smoke,
Right.
a Team Arrow,
Oh,
all
yeah,
this
right.
other
Diggle
crap.
never existed.
Right. He's
No
like,
Team
he's like, you forgot
Arrow.
the mission, and like that. Stephen Amell really nailed that
Yeah,
delivery.
he
of
really
doing all
did.
that.
And then he's like, "You
Great
lost
job.
your city," and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
No, they
season
were-
1 Arrow."
You
coming at
failed
ya.
this city.
Yeah.
He did
Yeah.
that so well, and also when he goes back to the council meeting, and Lance is like, "Are you all right?" Stephen Amell's like, "No, no, I'm not." He
He's
gives
like,
a really
"No,
nailed that scene too.
Yeah, yeah.
But I feel like that's what really feared him. That was his biggest fear
Yeah.
of
Himself.
confronting himself.
Yeah,
Right.
and Chase even says it. He's like, when it comes to all the villains, the villains come in second place to the first
Yeah.
place being himself.
And also, Adrian Chase said a good line where he's like, "You always hire the worst DAs possible."
You got a
see
bad
that
track
line? You
record
got a
with
bad
DAs,
track
yeah.
record.
Track
That's just
record.
like that is so true.
Yeah, Chase has got some good zingers. He's
He's
good.
good. I was happy he was in this episode.
So glad to see him again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too
I
bad
was-
they can't fix blown off.
you know who I was also
heads,
waiting
yeah.
to see was Tommy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I
Seeing
kind
like,
of.
oh, you killed me. See
I
what
kind
happened.
of thought that's where we were going because it was like
That's interesting
going into the
that-
past.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's interesting.
I love the actor who plays Tommy, Colin
He's on
Donnelly
like
or something.
He's on like a medical
Chicago PD.
Yeah, that's what it is.
or whatever it is.
Med.
Whoa.
Med,
Med.
Chicago Med,
Chicago
yeah.
Med.
Tony's got like encyclopedic knowledge of
Yeah.
Guys, I
Arrow
stalk.
cast members.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I think they stayed away from the earlier seasons because even with, I mean, Chase was saying past villains that he had, but he only went back to season 3 because he said, remember, he's like, oh, when it comes to Chase himself, Dark, Ra's al Ghul, and I was
Yeah,
like,
he mentioned
oh.
all the big boys,
I was
yeah.
like, are you
But
gonna
he
say
didn't mention, like,
Deathstroke?
Deathstroke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
stopped.
yeah.
So maybe that's why they didn't bring up Tommy or. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know, but I kind of was hoping for a little Tommy.
Oh yeah, I
appearance.
mean that was the first huge. I mean that whole
death. That was,
the,
that was the
whole-
first death, really.
Oh, that was really sad when that happened. Don't even.
Go back. Let's go back
don't
to
even.
season 1, guys.
When I watched that episode,
kinda wanna
I
was
got
like,
very nostalgic watching this episode.
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I
yeah.
really
Yeah.
liked it.
It's gonna be interesting now because he says he wants to be alone. So it's like, I mean, the roots were. I mean, season 1, the first half before, because Diggle joins at some point, but the first
Midway
half
through
is
season 1, I
yeah,
think.
is just him.
Yep.
Like talking to himself, like, oh, this is
I mean,
what
he-
I gotta do, and all that.
And at
Yeah.
the end, Felicity's like, "Are you firing Overwatch?" He's like, "No, no, no. I'm just telling you to leave." Like, you know, but
Or,
basically
like,
that's what he's saying.
Step down. Yeah.
The same thing. I mean, just leave,
Yeah,
get out of my
exactly.
face. Yeah, yeah. Same idea.
But they're glue, baby.
And he
Yeah,
says,
Felicity's glue,
and he-
baby.
Oliver also says
Like
that he
gum
wants,
on the bottom of your shoe.
Oh my God, stop.
I'm
He,
joking.
Oliver also
She's been fine. She's been fine. I have no complaints about Felicity right now.
Oliver also says he wants to have a single-minded, like.
I
basically
understand.
mission.
That's what I like. Like, forget the mayor stuff. Like,
Yeah.
single-minded focus on just taking down.
Did you laugh at the
Dragon.
part where Lance is like, turn on the TV?
Again, I was like,
I was like,
oh,
Any station.
is
that and the,
any
that and the
state-
damn TV.
I know.
I was like, is he gonna be the Arrow again? Is that what they're saying? And this just in, the mayor.
I'm
is
just-
the Arrow.
Breaking news.
I
He's
was so
not
happy.
the arrow.
He's
Yeah.
not.
I was so happy that they finally got him impeached. I was
Yeah,
like,
the mayor.
I mean, he wasn't
the arrows,
doing
the
anything,
mayor
like-
stuff.
you need to focus on you. You need to focus on being the Arrow, and that's it.
Was that just? When did he become the mayor? Was that last season?
Last season.
last season?
'Cause I remember
very
thinking,
end
like,
of last season.
Oh, that's right. Because
I remember
Chase
thinking,
was
how
his,
is this going to work? It was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
bizarre.
Well,
Yeah.
because Chase was his DA. That's right.
Yeah. It was like midway through the. No, I'm probably towards
It was
the end.
last
of,
season. Some I
Towards
don't
the
know.
end of last. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's had his run. Now Lance is gonna be the mayor. Oh,
I know.
geez.
Yeah,
Mayor
that's
Lance,
gonna- I don't know.
former
I think he'll do
alcoholic.
well.
Yeah.
He'll
think
do
he'll
well
be
because
fine.
he used to be the captain.
I think he'll do great
the
until
police,
Laurel
yeah.
asks him to do anything, and he'll do it like a little lap dog.
Yeah.
So that'll be it.
That's going to be actually interesting, that whole Black
Classic.
Siren and him now being the mayor.
I just want him to get over the whole it's his
Oh, he's
daughter
not going
thing.
to. Maybe Sarah will come in and save the day for that.
I get more angry at that than I
That
think
would be
Chris
great.
does with.
Wouldn't that be great? I think that might
What'd
happen.
you say? The,
Sarah just impaling.
Sarah Lance comes in season
Yeah.
finale, so maybe she comes in and is like, "Dad, what the hell? Like,
yeah,
this
like
is not
this
Laurel.
isn't
Like,
Laurel.
come
yeah.
on."
That's another thing I'm wondering how Sarah's gonna. I mean, we'll talk about that.
I mean, I'm
later,
sure
but,
she'll
yeah.
preview it on her Instagram.
Yeah, somebody should just
so-
tell Sarah, like, there's a robot that looks like Laurel walking around, and she just be like, here's a sword. Go up and take care of
Here's
it.
a-
She's
Yeah.
from. Did we figure out what Earth she's from?
Who?
Black Siren.
I have no idea.
2. Yeah, 'cause she. You,
Okay.
you don't remember?
I,
that?
I,
'Cause Zoom-
I remember. I
this
just
is-
don't. I don't remember which
Zoom-
Earth
This
it
is
was.
like one of like 20 shows I'm trying to keep up with.
Well,
I don't remember which
basically-
Earth.
In season 2 of Flash, Zoom brings people from Earth 2 because he's
Okay.
from
Sure,
Earth 2.
I know
okay.
that, yeah.
All right. So
And
Earth
he was,
2.
yeah,
Cool.
because I remember, yeah, they did.
And
a
Laurel's
crossover.
one of them?
yeah.
Laurel is. Yeah.
Laurel's the
Black
Oh,
Siren.
yes.
started
You're
on
right.
the
You're right.
Flash,
I do
yeah.
remember that. Okay. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Back
that-
to its roots,
Back to
Arrow.
its roots.
Back to.
Hope
Hope you
Overall-
enjoyed it.
Have failed this city.
Oh,
I am very curious to see what happens next week.
Do you
I
think he'll
would
start saying that again?
I hope so.
I do
That'd
not.
be it.
You have
don't?
failed. You have failed
No.
this omelet.
You don't
Chris.
think so?
I would love for this episode to be a trend that changes everything and it, like the switch.
But it's.
I feel like we're back to the usual BS next
Did you
week.
see what was the preview for the next one? Did we see it?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I know
it's
you don't see it.
Diaz saying. I mean, Diaz says this at the end of this episode. He says it in the next one. He's like, "The city is mine for the taking."
Oh yeah.
Open for
yeah,
business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Open
this-
for business.
He says the city's open for business.
yeah.
Yeah. And
So
yeah.
I'm curious to which direction. I hope the writers got their, oh, warning. This is
I
like
don't
what we
know.
all wanted. Going
don't-
back to the
Be
roots.
nice, wouldn't it?
I don't want to
Yeah.
say they can't recover because I feel like they
They could. They could.
But it's just there was a long stretch there where it was just episode after episode was like, all right, now what?
Well,
Now
yeah.
what?
And I think I'm hoping that the season finale will be Diaz gone, new villain coming in for season 7. I just really hope
yeah, yeah.
that. I really do.
I think that was. Is that it? Anything
So
else?
that's- I think that's it.
pretty much it. Yeah, we still.
We still have hope for Arrow.
Yeah,
After this episode, we still have
like
hope.
I said, if the writers are doing this, then they at least know what the
Right.
show was and remember a little bit. So that's very encouraging to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
All
anyway,
right.
that does it for our whole podcast. We had a lot to talk about.
I
Yes,
know.
But now Legends is over. Oh,
Legend-
Supergirl's coming back
Supergirl,
Monday.
Monday.
Oh, so
Woo!
That is
excited.
exciting. I'm
so
excited about that.
excited.
I'm very excited about
Toy
that.
Man is
Toy
back.
Man.
The villain.
I just have to rewatch.
Monel's got a new suit too. I saw that. I
Oh,
keep
he
getting
does. Yeah, yeah,
these
yeah.
Who?
weird alerts on my Google.
Mon-El?
Like, Monel's
Mon-El.
suit is now accurate. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, isn't his suit in the comics is just all red with a cape, isn't it?
No, it's black with a red thing on it.
Are you sure? Because I
thought
like just
so.
saw a picture.
I don't know. Whatever.
I mean,
We'll
there's
find
so
out.
I
many.
have no idea. I have no idea.
We'll find out. But this
Yes.
overall this week was great for the shows. I think.
Yeah.
Positive
Yeah,
all around.
Pretty good. Yeah.
But we'll be back next Friday, episode 13. Oh, today's Friday the 13th, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh shoot. That's
Happy
right.
Friday the 13th. I love that. Find us on any social media
Yes,
possible.
Twitter,
Instagram.
Pretty much everywhere.
Tell
It's
your
easy to find us on
friends.
iTunes and
Reddit.
Google, everything. Yeah.
Sony
Yeah.
printed out some stickers.
I
We're gonna hang
did.
these
We
up.
have some stickers here.
If you're in the Boston area, look out for stickers.
out
that say
for stickers.
Vigilante-Verse,
I'm gonna
yeah.
actually put one on my skateboard and
Totally.
do that. I think that I have a
Yeah.
skateboard that has all stickers on it, so I'll put it on there.
Yeah.
And get some attention then.
Yeah, there we go. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. The music stopped again. We did
We
this
talked
again.
too long
We
when the
talked
music
too
goes. Oh my god, that's Dan's
Um,
fault. He runs the
it's-
board.
he
Oh
runs-
come on.
It's all your
No.
fault,
That's
Dan.
You guys kept talking.
No, if it was me, I would have started later. I think. I'm
Well,
just kidding.
I know he's kidding. I knew you were kidding.
Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in.
Yep, all the best.
All right.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next week.